The following story will likely not end happily. The following acts you will witness are those of desperate people in desperate times. But oh, how the desperate do dream. Welcome to the dark future.
This is David Johannesson for N54 News. Earlier this week, a hostage situation turned deadly as Militech was called to respond to a bomb threat at Club Synapse in the Glen. NCPD supported them in clearing the local area, which was filled with civilians attending a night market. Several edge runners, whose identities have been posted in our scream sheets and on our garden patch, are suspected to be behind the act, which has left several Militech troops that were piloting a Navy dead after one of the runners, a rocker boy by the name of Persephone, used a rocket launcher to take it out of the sky. NCPD has not responded for comment on this, but we will continue to bring you updates as we get them regarding this senseless tragedy committed by a group of edge runner terrorists. As always, stay tuned.
Alright, Tunes, while you go work your magic on those nomads over on the key, I'm going to be working on getting air support secured for the next job. Should take me about a week, but let me know when you're back on solid land, and we can talk more details in person. Don't let those nomads walk all over you. Remember, they're as much corpos as they are nomads, and they behave like it. Stay safe, Tunes.
There we go. My mic's on now. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It is a wonderful Monday. It is the first Monday since I became a full-time content creator. So welcome, everyone, to Neon Inferno episode 20. Let me go ahead and get the music started up here.
Hey, yo!
Prepper Jack.
What the
Thank you, Prepper Jack, for the 5,000 bits. Appreciate it so much. So, as always, everybody, we are going to be playing some Cyberpunk Red tonight. We're at a level 4 hype train off of Prepper Jack's efforts, along with subs from both Will Wall as well as... oh my goodness, what is happening?
Holy
Prepper Jack also
shit.
subbed. All right.
This Monday has been wild.
Yeah, this Monday's starting off big. Okay, sick. Well, so everyone, welcome. Will Wall and Karth, thank you both for the subs. I really appreciate it. Quick heads up to everyone who is here at the start. We are in followers only chat mode today. Due to some anonymous tipping that I've received from some people. So we are going to avoid some issues, hopefully. Jake, thank you for the 500 bits as well. We're starting big. Holy shit. Okay. We're about to beat our last record, apparently. That's really cool. So thank you, everybody, for the support. I really, really appreciate it. We do have followers only mode on tonight. So if you are here and you are not a follower already, if you follow, you will be able to chat. We are doing this solely for the safety of everyone here, as well as my own. So thank you all for understanding. As always, we have our rewards on for channel points. You can drop items for the crew up to 1,000 eddies. if you have enough points, you can drop a loot box, which will pop in randomly as I decide. You can also name an NPC. This will be, I believe, if I am right in my assumptions, this will be the last week for naming an NPC in Neon Inferno. Next week is, if everything goes as I think it will this week, going to be the finale. So, oh my gosh, Cody, thank
For
you
season
this.
1, if we get a redemption for season 2.
For season, yeah, for season 1, this will be the last ones. So I will disable it because it'll probably be a little bit before we can do a season 2. We will do one. I promise this to everybody because I'm not done with Cyberpunk Red, and I always love continuity if I can make it happen. So we will do a season 2 here, but August is going to be insane for me. So we are going to need to cut it just so that way I'm not going many weeks unable to plan and unable to provide a game for everybody. Plus, we've gotten to a pretty good point in this campaign, I think. So we are going to do some things there. We'll talk about that more next week because I will have some things kind of sketched out for that. But overall, I just want to thank everyone for showing up. Thank you. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get up. Bear with me 2 seconds here. All right, so there's our game screen. So as you all might notice, the credits listed, everyone. We are a little light today. There were some last minute issues with the others being able to join us. So we have our 3 edge runners for the week. We have Dr. J, played by Cody. We have Way, played by Ghost of the Valley. And we have Zeke, played by Ghost Squad 9. Unfortunately, Erica and Maya were not able to make it this week due to some unforeseen issues here. So not a big deal. We will carry on as we always do. But it's good to have you all here. Welcome back. I know it's been a hot minute for some of you. So welcome back. But yeah, it feels like it's been a solid, I think, month since 9, since you were able to be here, if I'm remembering right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, geez. Because yeah, it's been 2 weeks since the ELO episode, and then I believe we had a week where we couldn't play before that. So yeah, damn. All right. Well, that explains why it felt so weird, kind of making my my opening today. So, but yeah, welcome everybody. So quickly to kind of recap and catch everyone up to speed on where we are. We've got a basically the situation where you all were flying the MetaKey with the Nomads to discuss with the Meta clan of Nomads what exactly could be done about this whole two-headed assault on Militech and what was the other ones? Oh yeah, Kahukura. So we've got a two-pronged assault. You guys have a nuclear bomb in your back pocket, which is always a safe thing to keep right near your back pocket. And yeah,
My it's safest in my back pocket because then it's not in someone else's.
That's also true. So thank you all for the hype train, by the way. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Mark, for the sub. So to remind everybody, so the plan was to have the crew play some Elflines online. Most of you had the opportunity to at some point. Unfortunately, there were some faulty Braindance wreaths. And so only Way and Dr. J got a chance to play. It was fun. It was very cool. The rest of you maybe found some in-flight entertainment or something of the sort, or were napping. I believe, Dr. J, you had mentioned something about the napping members of the group.
Yeah, no, I was just rather surprised nobody else really wanted to play.
So he may have dipped some fingers in water. Let's just
I did nothing of the sort. What are you
No.
talking about?
Nothing of the sort at all. Perfect culpable deniability. So, with that all said, we get down. The AV basically begins its landing sequence. You all get a notice from the pilot at the head saying, all right, it's time to begin our final descent. Everyone, make sure you're buckled in. We will be arriving at MetaKey shortly. And as you all descend down onto the artificial island of MetaKey, you look out across it, and there's part of it that reminds you strongly of Night City, with a couple of notable exceptions. One, obviously, this thing is a self-sustaining, floating ship of a nation. It is a giant metal pad upon which tall buildings are constructed, and you can even see, kind of the wake lines where it is very slowly trudging through the waves of the ocean. But you look out over this basically just landing strip of metal in the middle of the ocean as you descend out from below the cloud layers. And as the AV jets spin down, you can see several silver jumpsuited people running to the AV to begin kind of final offboarding of you all as its passengers. So as you all open up the AV and step outside, you find yourselves met with a man who comes up and one by one shakes your hands and said, you must be the people that Woodchipper called in about. The board is gathered. They want to meet all of you, hear exactly what it is you have to share. My name, by the way, is Anderson. I will be taking you to them. I will also be an assistant of sorts for you all while you are here on the MetaKey. So if you need anything, you need only ask me. And so he looks over at all of you to make sure that, you all understand and that everyone is kind of on board with moving. Looking around you, he notices Persephone is very much engaged on her agent, and that Electo is still dove in on a brain dance wreath of some kind, doing whatever it is she's doing. None of you are kind of aware of what she's viewing, but he says, I'm sure they'll be fine. And says, please, if there's any, bags I may help with, I would be more than happy to assist.
I just look at my bag, like my one med bag, and I'm like, I'm good.
And yeah,
Eagle just look over himself and just, think I'm doing all right, actually.
Okay, very good, very good. Yes, so come with me, and we will go and we'll see the board together, and well, let's hear this this plan that Woodchipper was all too excited to share with us. And with that, Anderson takes the three of you and Woodchipper over to an attached terminal to this landing pad, and guides you through a maze of hallways that are by and large windowless on this ground level, until you reach an elevator, which promptly, he calls down, opens, and, gestures all of you to get inside after, he has entered in and is holding the door open for you all.
Thank you, and he'll step through the door.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Very cool. So, so you all get in and you feel the elevator kick up, taking you up several stories into the air. When you finally do get out, unlike the lower levels, you see one large reinforced pane of glass overlooking the forward part of the MetaKey, and you could just see, and the day is pretty nice today. It's relatively clear, maybe a couple clouds in the sky, but you can see the sparkling sunlight off of the waves of the Pacific Ocean stretched out before you in really quite spectacular fashion. And below you could see several buildings that dot the artificial city skyline. One of them, you notice, is belonging to Militech. So they do have a presence here. It is noted. And so with that said, Anderson leads you around the corner to a door. And after briefly checking a terminal alongside it, he hits a button on a nearby console and says, "Please enter. They've been waiting for you."
All right, enough said. Zigo just walk through.
Yep, I'll follow right into. No point to wait.
Yep, same.
Very cool. All right. So as you all three walk into the room ahead of you, inside you see a similar window aligned on one side of the room that looks out over another facet of the key. Around the table, you see several faces. In here is what is apparently like a long boardroom type table made of like a polished, you're not sure if it's like a polished metal or plastic, but either way it looks very impressive. On the back wall you see the Meta's logo, and at the head is a silver-haired man who, upon seeing you all enter, as soon as the door is shut, he says, "All right, let's hear your proposition." And he just gives you this look that is all at once authoritative and fairly cold. Like he has that look of like judgmental evaluation on his face. So at this point, anyone who would like to start can. Otherwise, you could also defer to Woodchipper, and I will give her kind of opening argument here.
I'll just defer to Woodchipper for now.
Yeah, let's let Woodchipper make her the opening statement, and since nomad to nomad, and then we'll let him know what's going on.
Fair. All right. And so Woodchipper, upon kind of entering the room with you all kind of look over, waiting for her to speak as the nomad representative in your delegation, as it were. And you notice that while she's pretty used to negotiating all kinds of things, she looks almost nervous, like unusually nervous. You aren't sure that you've ever seen someone as like headstrong as her look so like not pale, but definitely like you can see that little sheen of sweat like across her brow and like her neck. And she says, "Yes, sir. So as far as our proposition goes, we require support for a military exercise because we believe that there has been just a little too much overreach on the corporate forces that be within Night City. Of course, I speak here of Militech. They came at us with guns drawn, looking for a fight, and as my friends here will attest, they took no prisoners. Despite what the scream sheets say, they were merciless. And
That's true.
And I say it's no small miracle that we arrived here today without further engagement from them. And let me hide this so that I can pull up Woodchipper's sheet here real quick. So I'm going to bring her onto the screen so as to negotiate some stuff. So I'm going to have her roll me some persuasion.
I'm also liking the updated UI for the character sheets.
Oh yeah, no, it looks very nice. All right. So the man at the head of the table doesn't look even a little bit impressed at this negotiation, at this attempt at kind of reasoning with them. And he simply says, well, as much as I can appreciate your issues here, sister, we have our own problems here on Meta, and I'm sure you appreciate the fact that we maintain a strict position of neutrality between the various corporations that we hold on our lovely nation here. And he kind of glances out the window, and you could see, even here, even Arasaka has offices. And so he kind of glances in that direction, and all of you can kind of very clearly make out the fact that he's implying very strongly like that is not a good move for them to make. But yes, I will accept any corporate kind of negotiation or baseline negotiation tactics. So you could roll bureaucracy, you could roll persuasion, you could roll business. Basically any kind of argument you want to make, you just need to let me know what kind of an argument you're trying to make, and I will tell you the skill to roll for it, given your kind of your argument. But yeah, with him kind of refuting Woodchipper's opening argument, what do all of you suggest?
So Zeke will just put his hands on the table and be like, what if you didn't exactly have to assist us militarily, per se?
And he looks
just
at you.
This is at this point, this is just me throwing a hook out into the water, trying to get him to listen in.
Sure, yeah. And so he kind of folds his hands in front of him, leans back in his chair, and says, elaborate.
So here's the thing. The crew I run with right now, the way it's going, Militech is getting a fight, and it's going to be one hell of a punch they're going to get. Could wipe them off the face of the earth, and well, with one big corporation like Militech being wiped off the face of the earth in Night City, well, someone's got to fill that spot. Could be you, or could be someone more like Arasaka. Maybe Arasaka gets more power from this. And then, well, we all saw what Arasaka does.
Go ahead and roll me a business check.
Ooh, I don't know how good this is going. Yeah, this is not going to be good. Here we go. Adding all 5 of my luck, because I have a base of 5 in business.
Oh boy.
Please work. Please, for the love of God.
Oh! All right. So, yeah, so he looks at you and he says, wow, that is interesting. You raised some very interesting points. All right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong in filling in for someone that's suddenly absent.
So then, what exactly is it you need from us at the moment if this is to be, as you say, a successful punch in their general direction?
Well, all we're asking is that you don't get in the way. At least that's all I'm looking for here. And Zeke will just look over to the rest of the crew that's currently present. If you have any ideas, because you are probably smarter than me, speaking specifically to Dr. J, I'll go ahead and defer to you here. But all my personal request is that you don't resist what's going to happen.
So at that point, I'm just I'll pipe in a little bit and go, you mentioned something about, taking a neutral stance with corporations. As my friend here said, well, what if you didn't have to be neutral?
Okay. So, what would you have us do if we were to break our neutrality here? In what manner are you suggesting we break that neutrality?
It wouldn't matter too much, considering the people you'd be breaking neutrality would be no longer in the game per se. But after this is all said and done, my friend failed to mention is we're also going after another specific corporation, which has been a pain in our side, coming after us directly, just like Militech. The security corporation is Kahukura.
And he kind of nods at that and he says, yeah, we know all about them.
Well, I'm sure you heard about their boats burning in the harbor of Night City recently, and let's just say that was a consequence of their actions.
Go ahead and roll me persuasion.
Will do. I am not very cool, but I will roll it anyway.
Let's see it.
I don't need to
Who
look
knows?
for
You
shit.
might crit
it's
Zeke
fine.
did.
I had to burn all my luck. Which, just out of raw curiosity, what did I have to beat for that roll?
I'll talk at the end of the game about it because we're
Damn.
we're
you
still
get over it.
we're still in the middle of
20.
the skill checks right now. All right, and so he leans back and he says, "So, if that was all of you, what's to say you don't burn our boat to the ground?"
Zeke will pipe up. He's like, because we're coming to you, asking you to fill the spot we're trying to destroy. Why would we want to build a bridge just immediately to blow it into oblivion?
Also, we respect you guys. We respect the nomad clans.
Zeke will gesture to that as well. He's like, it's just exactly that. Like, you are respectable. Militech has done nothing but murder innocents and basically harass anyone that dares say something that they don't like.
But it's no secret that none of you has a particular love for corporations, which I'm sure, as you're all probably aware, Meta is not a simple nomad clan. We are ourselves a corporation.
Zeke is gonna hold his hand up. He's like, I don't have respect for most corporations.
Some are necessary.
Yes, exactly. Some are necessary. The only corporations that I have genuine disdain for are Militech, Kahukura, and Arafaka.
All right, both Dr. J and Zeke, roll me persuasion.
Something I'm good at. Now watch me crit fail.
I got no more luck to back me up. Both do it.
Okay. So, with that rolled, let me check one thing on my notes here. Okay. So the man looks at you all thoughtfully, and he says, well, you want us to fill the position of a corporation that has offices here on the MetaKey. An interesting idea. And he looks over at Woodchipper. He says, sister, how would you respond if I asked you to wage war on a corporation twice? And Woodchipper looks kind of taken aback by that. And she says, well, Mr. Meta, I don't quite know what you're asking. And he says, what would you, or even the three of you, her friends, say if I asked for equality when it came to bloodshed? I'll send some of my men to support your actions if you do me the favor of taking bloodshed off of the island by sinking some offices for me.
I'd say
Zeke gets a fat ass grin on his face. He's like, got any ideas?
that sounds like a normal day of work for us at this point in time.
Okay. I suppose when one's in bed with terrorists, they should be ready to do terroristic acts. And he looks around to the rest of the board. He says, the rest of you, leave. And the rest of them all stand up with slightly puzzled looks on their faces, but they all respect the fact that it is Jonathan Meta, the longtime CEO of the corporation, asking them to leave, and they do not question it. As the door shuts behind them all, he simply says this: I'm all for filling a power vacuum, but as you might imagine, when one has a headquarters for a certain corporation on their front door, well, usually it doesn't end very well. So I just want you to take them off our doorstep. To that end, I can equip you with some things. And so he basically taps on some controls in front of him, pulling up a display on the TV, or not the TV, on the holo projector in the table. And he shows a image of the MetaKey, the island that is currently moving along. And he says all of the MetaKey at one point was a hobbled together mass of ships, oil rigs, pretty much anything we could find that would float and be relatively stable. Obviously, over time, we've reinforced these connections, made sure that the things keeping things afloat are better fit to handle things. But of course, we have fail-safes, such as if some of the flotilla were to be, say, damaged in a series of explosions, or some particularly large attack from an underwater adversary, such as, I don't know, Arasaka mines that swim around the Pacific, as I'm sure you're all aware. Well, then that part of the island would have to be ready to detach at a moment's notice. And he kind of casts a knowing glance at all of you gathered.
So you want us to break off their land?
All I'm saying is that certain support structures would, should they be damaged, automate a release and subsequent collapse of the mass of metal and land that the building was situated on. And
Sounds like you. I would say it sounds like you've already thought about doing this once.
And he just glances back at the hologram upon hearing you say that, zooming in on the section of the map containing the Militech building. And underneath, he basically elevates it so you could all see underneath this plate, essentially, that the building is constructed on top of. And he points at 3 large tanks that are highlighted on the projection on the underside. He says, these are ballast tanks. Were they to rupture, like I said, by some horrible accident, terrible tragedy, thousands of lives would probably be lost. Because, I mean, we couldn't really evacuate all those people in time. But if they were to rupture, the whole plate would be set adrift in the sea and, you know, barring the ability to float, well, the whole thing would sink to the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
All right.
To this end, I would have you all review this. And he slides a series of shards over to all of you. And it's clear to all of you that we never had this conversation.
What conversation?
Good. At least I know you work with professionals, sister. And he looks at Woodchipper as he says that. He says, I'll give you all a moment to review that. And he leans back in his seat, disables the holo projector, and allows each of you to slot them in either to chipware sockets or to your agents in order to review the data.
So since I have an internal agent, I assume I'd have somewhere to socket it in, right?
Yeah, you'd have some way to like socket it to the agent. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep. So
I'll go ahead and socket mine then.
Yep. So you go ahead and all of you plug in the shards, and the shards detail something far more specific, and it might appear as though he maybe prepared this when he heard of the beginnings, the rumblings of Woodchipper's proposal. So he has a list of equipment that is on the chip that he is willing to provide all of you. There is, and for the group, he is providing the following. One, Makigai Ebi, which is a small hatchback car, outfitted with glide fans, which allow it to travel over the water. One, meta submersible from the 2020s, equipped with two Kamimizu pilotable torpedoes and a crate of 6 charges of C9, 3 dive suits equipped with basic Kevlar armor plating, and obviously the air sources to allow you to swim outside the sub. And he says, I will ensure that our sister here knows where to go. Beyond that, I trust I can leave all of you to do your job.
Well, I know I'm looking forward to it.
Very good.
I'll just pop the shard out of my agent, crush it, and put the remains on the desk or the table.
And yeah, and as you do, you hear a really light just and like a small vacuum pulls it to the edge and into some unseen chamber or chute of some kind.
Zeke will squint a little and then follow suit, ejecting his shard and crushing it and then dropping it. Just close to the edge this time.
Yeah, and it just just like sucks it away.
And I'll just inspect the edge of the table like, that's neat as shit. And then realize what he's doing. Oh, little scatterbrained.
Yeah. And Jonathan looks at all of you and doesn't really smile or anything. He says, if none of you have any further questions, you are all dismissed. Let me know once it's done.
All right, and Zeke will stand up. Let's get to work, shall we?
I'm just going to head out, not saying a word. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. So, as you all exit, Anderson is standing there. He says, I take it the meeting went well.
As well as it could have gone, but the situation we're in is what I guess you could call it quid pro quo.
And he kind of nods. He says, well, that's very good. I've been told to guide you down to the garage.
All right.
And so with that, he leads you again through the halls of the building, clad in glass, white, that same kind of white polished plastic or metal that the table was made out of, and polished steel, and leads you down again through the elevator, this time emerging on a lower level, and you can hear the sound through the walls of the waves and seawater lapping up against the metal superstructure of the island. And he guides you over to a row of vehicles. Sitting there is a Militech branded Makigai Ebi that is equipped with those jets. He simply says, "I've been told that this vehicle is yours for the day." And of course, do all of you know what a Makigai Ebi looks like?
No, I do not. I just know that it's cool, and from what you've described.
Okay, let me show you what the base version of this looks like then, because you're going to be even more amused when you see it. Let me pull this up here real quick. Vehicles.
What I'm amused by is we're taking a Militech vehicle to go blow up Militech, so it's just fantastic.
Yeah. Well, this Makigai is its own corporation, but if you guys have the stream up, this is what...
The final form of the Cybertruck, I see.
This thing is a tiny hatchback. This particular one has been extended ever so slightly to allow all of you to fit in it. And the bottom of it, you can see, has a set of fans around the tires that allow them to kind of rotate and become like a hovercraft along water.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's really the only differences, obviously. And then the livery of the one you're looking at is Militech branded with that, kind of sage green color and a big old white M. I drive a car like it, but holds 4, says Diamond. Yeah, no, it's a 4-seater normally, but this one's got a seating upgrade to hold 6. So just enough room for the 4 of you, I guess, would be enough without the seating upgrade. But I built it to hold up to 6 of you because that's our normal cast number. So, that's what you're dealing with, this tiny hatchback with little turbo fans in the wheels. So, with that, you all load up into the car, and Wood Chipper says, "If no one's going to complain, I'm going to take the driver's seat."
By all means. I'm awful at driving.
And she kind of chuckles. She says, "Good. All right."
I play guitar, not racer.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, she gets the car started up and drives toward the exit sign. Anderson, standing there, simply waves you all off. And as you pull away, before you leave, the ability to hear him, he simply says, "Good luck to you all." And as you all get to the exit tunnel itself is flooded by the seawater that I mentioned before, despite the fact that it is above you. And the fan jets engage, and it starts leading you down a canal system built between the different construction plates of the city. And so you find yourselves weaving into and out of these underplate canals through the city, eventually finding your way to a set of streets that lead you out in the direction of the Militech building. As we drive there, is anyone wanting to do any preparation, conversation, etc.?
Zico more or less just double check his gear, and of course be ready for conversation, but not gonna start any.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just look at Wood Chipper and just sort of, I'll just let her know, like, "Hey, I appreciate you doing this with us. I know it's putting you at risk, but at the end of the day, Militech and Kahukura are putting everybody at risk.
She nods and she says, the meta nomads are always a bit of a wild card. Like John said, they're a corporation, but they were us once. He formed it because of all of the vets that were forgotten by the country after the South Am War. So he understands. He knows the score. Corporations aren't playing nice. They don't play nice either. Wouldn't be the first time that he went and pissed one of them off.
Oh, so that's what he meant when he said that earlier, huh?
That's what he meant. He knows. They're not just a soulless corporation. They're nomads first.
That's why they're the only ones I trust filling this spot.
I would say he seemed a little over-prepared when he gave us the tour of the structure there on that map.
I mean, I wouldn't expect a man with so many people that depend on him to do something so, well, admittedly reckless when he's dealing with the person he'd be blowing into the water.
I suppose that's what we're for.
Yep. At the end of the day, people like us are expendable.
Woodchipper says it's also deniability for him. He is playing the corporate game after a fashion, but if he says he'll support us, we just have to get this one job done. Everything from that point on, he'll hold up his promise.
Yeah. Sort of glad that Persephone isn't with us right now, considering her name was all over the scream sheet this morning.
Yeah. Man, can't believe they said it was fucking unprovoked terrorism. As if they weren't the ones that bombed us.
How dare they not call it a rocket launcher?
Honestly. Disrespecting the trademark.
The rocket launcher was not respected. Noted that's the line. That's incredible.
Charlie, you forget that Dr. J is down to empathy, and honestly, there's certain things he'd rather care about than, actual things that you should care about at this point.
It's fair. Have any of you read the actual scream sheets today?
No.
Or looked at them on your agent?
Well, I assume that Zeke would have looked at him on the agent.
Okay.
Or at least listened to him, because he doesn't have the eyes.
So the one thing Oh, go ahead, Cody. I'm sorry.
Honestly, I'd be surprised if they didn't play him on the flight.
Yeah, I mean, you guys wouldn't have been paying attention to them on the flight regardless. The scream sheets are more like a newspaper anyway, so think about like if you're pulling like an online newspaper up on your phone, that's generally what they are. Or they're animated paper that you can pay like, I think it's like 5 eddies a day to like get a fresh copy of it. But basically the scream sheets themselves, Zeke, named all of you and had pictures of all of you. So Persephone was the one named as the one who took down the AV, but all of you are noted as suspects in the quote unquote hostage situation at the club. So
In response to that is Zeke seeing himself listed as a suspect is like, about fucking time. Jesus, you're so slow.
Finally, I've done it.
Ironically, they're slow about this, but when it comes to bombing the hell out of us, we don't even get the chance to take a nap.
And Woodchipper kind of grins at this, and she says, well, I'm sure it's because they failed to take you out that now they want the public's help. Couldn't do it quiet enough.
I mean, the PD have already been looking for me for a little bit.
And she says, well, after today, they might have another reason to tack onto your rap sheet.
So, thinking somewhat logically at this point, because Dr. J has been pretty much out of the spotlight until now.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody's paying attention to me, I'm literally gonna completely change my look with tech hair and chem skin really quick.
Mm-hmm. But
I've never really needed to. I've always just had the upgrade because it keeps me from needing haircuts.
Yeah.
So I'm just
Man is unironically prepared.
all you see is like Dr. J's, where you look away for like a fraction of a fucking second. All you see is long blonde hair. He looks almost just like his fucking elf.
Skin tans out just a little bit above its pasty white normally. Yeah.
He does a double take. What? Never mind.
I'll just shrug.
When?
And-
How? Why?
I'll just shrug.
Yeah, and Woodchipper looks up at you and says, "Good. I'm glad someone came prepared to be someone else today." And at this point, she takes an exit off of this kind of main stretch of almost highway that you guys have been on, and again descends down into the canals and begins driving over the water again. And this time, getting the car to a dock that is kind of perched on the underside of one of the plates, shaded from view above. And she parks the car on the dock, along which you could see is sitting a long cylindrical body that is partially submerged under the waves, with a hatch poking up about a meter out of the water, just off of the dock itself, welcoming you all to step in.
Zeke is wasting no fucking time.
Yep.
Wait, so
He gets out, sees the thing, and it's almost like a fucking cartoon where there's like a dotted line where he was.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at Woodchipper and go, so we have to ride in this underground death barrel or underwater death barrel?
It's just a little. It's just like a boat. It just goes underwater as Zeke is climbing into it.
Dr. J doesn't really like the fact that he doesn't like oceans and or space, but he's like, okay, fine, whatever, just get this shit over with.
Yep. So the three of you enter, and Woodchipper follows you in, closing the hatch behind everybody and sealing it. Inside, it's pretty cramped. As one might expect, this is not a very large sub, although it is big enough to have an airlock, and it does have a separate kind of airlock for equipment. And so one says personnel, one says equipment. The personnel airlock is big enough to fit all four of you should you need to go out, with the understanding, of course, that there are only 3 dive suits, so you will need to be mindful of that. Sitting on the seats within the body of the sub itself, you see these dive suits, as well as nestled and cargo netted against one of the walls. You see a bundle of C9 along with detonators. And you can count out a total of 6 pairs.
You got instructions on how to use these dive suits?
I mean, they're pretty much, you put them on, they're dry suits. So once it's on, you pretty much zip it up, and you've got a dive mask that locks into place, and it's all lined with Kevlar, so it's got SP7.
I forgot this is future tech. I was thinking like current dive gear. We actually need to know what you're doing to put it on.
Yeah, no, this is relatively simplified dive gear. So it's built to be used for military operations or quick maintenance operations. It's not meant to be something that you need to spend a whole lot of time getting into or out of. It's also not like a compression suit, so you're not going to be piloting a mini sub in this thing. It is you in a dive suit.
Good to know.
Yep.
Basically just a wetsuit and a rebreather.
Yeah, exactly. It is a helmet but that helmet is also armed. It's armored as Kevlar, so it'll be SP7 across the board while you have it on. So with that said, you all get your. You can take your seats. Sitting in one of the chairs is a small envelope that simply says on the outside of it. Let me go ahead and pull this up. It says, to our landlocked friends. And within it, you find a skill chip for pilot sea vehicle.
Oh. I don't think I have a slot for that.
No,
I don't.
But Woodchipper does.
Oh.
Zeke will pick it up and turn to Woodchipper and be like, I have something for you.
And she looks at it and she kind of grins and she says, of course they'd insult our fact that we just stay on land. And she rips the envelope open, takes the skill shard out, and plugs it into her chipware socket. And she walks over to assume controls. And it is at that point that you hear a voice come from all around you within the sub. It says, hello, my name is Poseidon. I will be your AI guide.
What company makes this sub again?
The sub itself is a meta sub.
Of course they named this thing Poseidon.
Yeah. Hubris is in the name of the game when you're a sea nomad, apparently. So,
At least they didn't call it Unsinkable.
Too soon?
I'm not saying it is. I'm fully expecting it to sink.
Jeez. So,
listen, nothing can ever go fully right with us.
You're right about that. This is very true. So, so you all, oh boy, Diamond, thank you for the 100 bits. I appreciate it. So what was the oof there for, Jake? I'm curious. Too soon? Oh my god. So Poseidon simply says, I will guide you to the support structures. We will begin with the one furthest out from the city, so that I may maneuver us back to safety once the final one collapses. The collapse of the structure will be quick and violent, and it would be wise of all of you to stay out of the way of any falling debris when that happens.
You don't say.
These jokes are unsinkable. Jesus Christ. Awful. Absolutely awful. So with that, you guys feel the sub lurch forward away from the dock as you all head toward the first point set by Poseidon here. And so as you all head out there, what are we doing?
I'm prepping in a wetsuit. Or dry
Zeke is
suit, I guess.
Gonna throw one of the suits on. Get more or less putting the suit on and getting used to what his range of mobility is with it on. Something new he's never worn.
Yeah, and your mobility you find isn't impacted a whole lot. You are able to move more or less as you normally would expect to. Obviously this thing does have a set of fins, but the fins themselves are retractable within the suit itself. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, so they're a set of like collapsible carbon fiber fins that can extend or retract at essentially the push of your heel against solid ground. So you can retract them if need be while you're in the sub itself.
Imagine Zeke will discover this feature and just sit down for a second and like just play with it because he's scatterbrained, just watching him retract and extend.
You're just sink, 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 and you're just like.
I wonder if I could kill anybody with that.
What do you mean we're not going to take -2 to stealth rolls because we're going to go flip flop every time we walk?
Yeah, exactly. The good news is
slap.
The good news is you actually don't need to go inside a structure here. You just need to go out into the water and swim up to the structure, which Dr. J, I'm sure you're gonna love.
Yeah,
did they?
Exactly right.
Zeke is going to root around in the bag of C9 to find the detonator, because that's important to know where it is.
Yeah, and you find each satchel of C9, each like block of plastic explosive, has a detonator paired to it. So you find that as you kind of go through the bag there, they are, pretty much set up as pairs already. So you can just kind of loosen the detonator from a block of C9, and that's your
And there are
pair.
how many blocks?
There are 6 in total.
6.
Each with its own detonator.
And we have to blow how many ballast tanks total?
3.
Good.
Yeah. Does anyone want to roll me a demolitions check?
I can certainly try.
I'm never opposed to something. It's just a matter of me succeeding.
Fair?
Aha!
It's pretty good.
Not...
I was
Also-
going to say something regarding my computer, but then I realized I'd probably jinx it, so I'm not.
But I have to. Walrus, man, these jokes are unsinkable. Why so cold?
Dear God. That hurts me.
It came to mind like 5 seconds after, as soon as it sank in.
Oh, no.
That was an accident. That one was completely unintended.
Yeah, and then Dr. J rolls his demolitions check, and it is like not happening for him. The good news is, Zeke, you, for one reason or another, do know how these should work. You know that for the
Zeke
size...
has been fantasizing about this. That's why he knows.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, you got the Anarchist Cookbook somewhat memorized at this point, I'm sure. So, you do
C9
know
spaghetti sounds good.
You do know that each of the ballast tanks probably will take something on the order of 3 of these in order to properly ensure they're destroyed.
Each of the ballast tanks?
Yes. This is where I also remind you that there are 2 Kamimizu torpedoes that can be remotely fired from within the sub.
Where's the trigger for that?
So there is a control panel over on one of the subs controls that controls, it says fire control on it. It has a screen and several joysticks and buttons there for controlling the various systems on one of these camera torpedoes.
All right. And just out of curiosity, because I have one, does Wood Chipper have a radio communicator?
Let me double check if she does. I believe she does, but I want to make sure. She has an agent, which you could use in that short range fashion.
Yeah, I just wanted to see, because radio communicators are a little bit harder to trace than agents that are connected.
The sub also has a radio communicator built in. So
cool.
Yeah, so if she's staying on the sub, the 3 of you can go out in the water and communicate with her.
All right. Then I'll just walk up to Wood Chipper and change the frequency on my radio communicator to just like a random one where I don't hear any noise, and then just let her know what the number is to switch to it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so she sets it up so that way, communicators are open. As you guys are all moving, you test it. The line works. Everything's great for now, at least within the sub itself.
And the final stage of my plan is I'm going to ask her, let her know that when I give the word, launch every torpedo this thing has at the ballast tanks.
So the one thing you can see is like the torpedoes are kind of held in like a ready position within the cabin here so that they can be quickly loaded and fired. These are quite a bit bigger than the C9 tanks that you have.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm just wanting to because I'm planning if the ballast tanks are organized how I think they are, how I'm visualizing, there's going to be one close, one further back, and then one even further back.
Yeah, so they're aligned in more or less a triangular fashion. So if you think of the plate as being like a giant triangle, you got one ballast tank at the center of each of the three edges, essentially.
In which case, my plan alters, and it's actually a little easier to coordinate where the C9 goes. I'm actually thinking about this now. You have me in a demo mindset right now.
Oh no, that's totally chill. No, this is where I'm going to just give you.
Is there a basic pen and paper?
Yeah, I'm
the sub.
I'm just gonna give you the tools and let you cook. I mean, you can literally draw on your agent. Your agent's got a notepad feature. Yeah,
I have an internal one. I'll have to borrow someone's.
Yeah, I mean, you could visually do it with your mind even. That's the thing. You can sketch it.
Yeah, because
by just thinking.
Right now, what Zeke is drawing is he draws the triangular pattern of them, and he sees since we have 6 C9, place 2 C9 charges on either interior face of the ends of each ballast tank, and then blow them, and then if that doesn't quite do it, follow up with the torpedo barrage.
Okay,
because that way each ballast tank will have because you'll have the 2 on the ballast tank, but then they'll also get the explosions from the nearby ones. So it would meet theoretically the impact required to at least blow the ends of the ballast tanks to evacuate the air in them.
You're saying that the nearby ones for each individual ballast
tank,
right?
if you're in the triangle, on the interior, on the points where they're because I assume they're a big gas cylinder, basically.
Yeah, so let me...
So on the round end, that are round ends of each of the points that are closest to each other, will have basically 2 C9 pointing at each other.
Yeah, so to make...
On each end of the triangle.
To make something here real quick, so let me see, can I drop in the negative? No, I can't. There.
I think you're underestimating the distance between the tanks.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say here. So if you're imagining this is just a rough triangle, can you see this on your screen just above the Neon Inferno label and everything? Okay, so if you're imagining this, right, you've got a ballast tank here-ish, another one here-ish, and then another one here-ish, and each of these is a good couple of kilometers apart from the others. So they are...
We've got a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be you just swim up to one and basically once you've prepped it, it's not all of them blow off of one set of charges. Each one needs a solution for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we'll just put 2 on... Because we're going to be popping up under them, right? Or popping up near them, or is this actual solid land?
So no.
Will we have to actually physically walk/run that distance between them?
So you guys are going to be under the water the whole time. These are submerged. So you guys are. That's why you guys have the dry suits.
Yeah.
So you can swim up underneath it, place the charges on the tanks themselves, and then below them, all from under the water.
Based on simple math, though, it's going to need 3 charges on one, 3 charges on the other, and 2 missiles for the final.
Yeah, at least 1 missile for the final.
Yeah, so then if that's the case, then we'll put 3 charges on each of the 2 that are like on the sides of the triangle, and then below the one that's near the bottom with the torpedoes.
I mean,
Gotcha.
I would just say use the missiles on the closest one, the last one. Because if we're going to the farthest one first, then that's the ideal to plant the C9 on.
So basically, let me. That's still white. Why is that still white? I want to do this. Configure. There we go. So we're saying C9 if in the ones that labeled in red here, and then
Yeah, because if I'm viewing this correctly, and if I'm correct in my assumption, the 2 ones that are now red are the ones that are on the inland side.
so those are
Like,
yes,
well,
those
yeah,
would
like
be,
quote unquote inland, like that. Like when we're
Yes.
at these 2, we're completely 100% away from what the public would see as the shoreline. We're under them.
right. Yep. The one that is on the edge there, the lower edge on my screen, is what would be kind of facing out towards the open ocean.
Yeah, so that's what my idea is to blow those 2 ones in red first. That way we're out in open water to launch torpedoes at the final one.
Yeah. I agree. That works.
Okay. Cool. So
Right.
Poseidon says I was going to head to the farther out of the 3 to begin with, but based on what you were suggesting, we should head towards the others first.
That is correct.
All right, rerouting. And you feel the sub suddenly lurch as it turns. And you do find your way after about 15 minutes. The sub manages to navigate its way to one of the nearest ballast tanks, which would be, according to the diagram I've drawn here, the one on the left of the triangle here.
All right. Zeke will pick up a set of 3 and be like, "I'll take the plunge first if you don't mind."
You gonna go out on your own?
Well, I mean, I'll at least take care of the first set of C9.
So Dr. J
I mean-
will get a whole sigh. He'll put on the dive suit while you're getting ready to leave. I'm like, I'm not just gonna let you go out on your own.
I mean, it's gonna be what, like a big ass fucking lake with no ground in sight? I'm not exactly expecting there to be anyone on patrol.
You say lake? This is the goddamn ocean. There are sharks.
The moment
Whatever's
of
left of
naivety-
them is probably out bumping into mines. It'll be fine.
It'll be fun.
It'll be fine.
Famous
So it's
last
a good
words
idea.
from the anarchist.
Do we have like a radar screen or something for just kind of our local vicinity? Would we be getting any pings back from mines, or are they just like ghosts waiting to murder you if you cross their path?
Yeah, so it kind of depends, right? The spooky Arasaka ones that Jonathan Meta was alluding to are pretty much spooky little ghost boys that sneak up and just kind of blow you out of the water suddenly. They are, by and large, radar invisible, or at the very least, very, very difficult to resolve on radar. So yeah, they are not something you'd find easily. Other things in the water, like other submersibles and stuff like that, your radar may be able to pick up. But yeah, those specific mines that Jonathan Meta was talking about is like, oh, good.
Yeah, it's fun because those are the exact ones I was worried about.
Yeah,
Anyways, can I still try and take a look at the screen to just see what I see?
Yeah.
As Zeke just secures his helmet on.
Yeah, so you look over at the screen here, and you're seeing a couple of like pings that are mostly stationary that are off toward the like this side of, hold on, I need to get my pinging ability back. Here we go. Towards this side of things. But nothing that's coming your way. They all are things that kind of seem to be moving around you. So this particular one does not appear to be, being monitored at the moment by anything actively. At least nothing in the water.
Okay. Well, seeing that there's blips, whether they're stationary or not, then I'm gonna toss on my helmet because it's all that I need to be completely suited, and I'll head out with everybody else.
There. All right. So you all make for the fairly small airlock. And as soon as you're in, you shut the door to the inside of the sub, press the airlock, and the room begins flooding with water until it is fully submerged. The doors take a couple of seconds to finish doing their pressure exchange, make sure everything is sealed the way it needs to be. And then a green light flashes on the ocean side hatch that leads out into the water.
And Zeke will open the door carefully, tentatively even.
Yep.
And then wait until he's outside and a few feet away from the sub to deploy his fins to make sure they don't get caught on anything.
Yep. So you pull down a lever that allows you to open the door, and the hatch swings slowly out into the water.
That's not ominous at all.
Yep. And so you take a leap off of the sub, and looking around you, especially with the sheer size of the mechanical island above you, below you is just deep, dark, ominous
nothingness.
Blue. Yeah, like you see nothing other than this shade of deep blue below you. Off in the very far distance, visually, you could see the tiniest bit of sunlight peeking around the edge of the island. But the vast majority around you is just that shaded, dark, deep ocean blue from the shade created by the island above you.
Time to distract myself from impending doom and start heading towards his first ballast tank.
Yeah.
So Dr. Joe wait about 30 seconds before he gets out of the sub just to make sure that somebody doesn't immediately come and eat Zeke.
Yeah.
Shark bait.
Yeah, shark bait. Ooh-ha. So, so Zeke, you swim out, and
just slow, calm movements. He's seen Shark Week.
Yeah. Shark Week, one of the holdovers that does exist in the dark future.
It would. It's too popular to not.
It's true. It's fair.
They now feature Arasaka and Biotechnica as sponsors, and oftentimes get interesting sharks.
Yeah, Biotechnica most especially. So, with that, yeah, you find your way out into the open water. Nothing comes for you. Nothing openly attacks you here. You swim up to the ballast tank, and I'm going
to clarify that I'm going to position under it and not never once breach the surface at all.
No, the whole tank is by and large submerged. This is kind of just being aided by the rest of the island's ballast tanks to keep the whole thing floating at sea level.
I'd still much prefer to stay on the underside of it and do a quick visual inspection for any sensors that he might have to be careful about crossing.
Sure. Roll me perception.
Okay. It's not awful, but yep.
Okay. Yeah, you don't see any sensors.
I was about to say not awful, but it doesn't matter if I fail.
Yeah, you don't see any sensors.
I'll just turn to whoever's nearest and just try to confirm. He's just like, you don't see any sensors, right?
Dr. J, you do not see any sensors either.
Oh, while we're swimming up to it, as since we're talking about looking at things, Can I get a quick look back at the sub as I'm swimming up to see how effective it is at least short range being able to see in the water? Because that's one of the big dangers is it's real easy to lose where you're at.
Yeah, and it's pretty visible to you in the water. Like you're only swimming maybe at most a couple 100 meters away from it, and it is the only thing that you can see within the vast expanse of deep water.
Eerie. And yeah, I guess can I roll on seeing if I can see sensors? Let's see if we can get some god tier luck. I've still only got my 2 roll. We're back on the actual way.
Yeah, sometimes you roll some crazy perception checks. So yeah, let's see it.
Been a while. There it is.
Okay, yep. You don't see any sensors either.
Double and triple check. First C9 charge coming out, and he's going to place it in the middle of the bottom as gently as possible, but firm enough to make sure it actually attaches.
Yep. Yeah, and each of these C9 packets have been prepared with like a small set of magnets that are embedded in it to allow it to stick more easily to the metal. So, because normal adhesive doesn't work quite as well under the water. So they added that little bit here, and you can kind of feel as you reach up and attach it, you feel that sight thunk, as the magnets kind of engage to the underside of the metal.
After hearing that clunk, you just freeze completely for a second just to listen to see if there are any alarms.
Perception check.
Oh boy.
Charlie, what do you mean there's not flex tape in the dark future?
That's a lot of damage! Oh.
Oh. Yeah, you don't hear anything.
Just the silence of the deep black ocean.
Yeah,
Okay,
you just hear
then-
the thud, and followed by the sound of that, like the caress of the underwater currents around your ears.
Okay, then above and below it, I'll place 2 more additional charges. Just
Duct
like
tape, 20 EV.
just like
Good
right
time.
next to this first charge on the top and bottom, just sitting right next to it, I'll place these other 2 charges.
Yep. So yeah, you feel that same thunk, thunk, as each of them is
And then
engaged.
just give the OK symbol to both of them to start making their way back.
Yep, we'll go back to the sub, get the fuck out of the ocean for a little bit.
Yep.
Oh no.
Okay. Could I get
Giant
a
crab.
could I get a demolitions check from you there, Zeke?
Oh boy.
I'm more scared of the giant enemy crab than I am a demo check.
Fair enough. Okay. So, with that,
I assume what is about to happen is I am either going to find out how I have ruined everything or how I have unknowingly evaded death.
maybe not. So you all make it back to the sub. You get in, you shut that hatch, and as you seal it, there's a drain button on the inner facing wall that separates you from the interior of the sub. And so I assume one of you is going to hit that drain button.
Oh yeah, let's smack it.
Yep. So you hit it, and after a moment where you can hear the metallic driving of several clamps on the outer door to make sure it is tightly sealed, you hear the sound of pumps engaging, and the water level begins draining down from the ceiling to the floor of the water in the room. So as the last of the water drains out, again, you hear some additional seconds of hissing as the pressure equalizes between the inside of the sub and the airlock, which you are all in now. Once it is equalized, you see a green light flash on the interior door, letting you know it is safe to re-enter the main body of the sub.
You just see Dr. J violently shake to get the water off the suit before back into the sub.
Yeah. So
Zeke
you
will
all
just take his helmet off and let Woodchipper know that we're ready to head to the second ballast tank just on the other side.
Yeah, and seeing you all walk in, Woodchipper says, "All right, having fun swimming around in the Pacific yet?"
Could be better. More
Just gonna-
sunlight would do.
Deadpan stare at Woodchipper and say, "Get me the fuck out of here as soon as I can."
And she kind of laughs at that and she says, "All right, fine, we'll get going." And so she hits the go switch, and Poseidon starts piloting toward the next ballast tank waypoint. So with this,
I just openly say into the air of the cabin, I'll just say, if you're not scared of space or the ocean, I really do think that cyberpsychosis is not the worst thing wrong with you.
all right, so let me do this. Okay. So, oh boy. Deranged girl, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. And so with that that check here, gonna roll one other thing here real quick.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. All right.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So you
concerned.
all-
I'm scared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Like that. That's good. Stay afraid. Stay very afraid. So
It's what's gonna keep me alive and or get me killed.
So you all head on to the second waypoint. And I wish I could buy you guys a reroll. There's a reason that's not one of the channel points. I like the rolls being permanent. So
You make it a reward, but make it like 200,000 points.
yeah, make it like massive. So actually, chat, we're gonna have a little fun here. Normally I don't do this to my players, but I sure hope so. Thank you for the follow. So let me do this real quick. I'm gonna do a poll. We're gonna do a quick.
You know
poll.
what? I'll minimize thread right now, so I don't know what the poll is.
No. You can keep this open. You guys can
want me-
vote in this poll. Yeah.
So we can actively help determine our fate.
This isn't determining a fate. This is gonna be. Actually, let me see if it lets me do this, because there's a way I know to set up a prediction. That's what it is. Where
No.
people can gamble some points here. So let me.
What do you think is going to happen? Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun,
Party
dun,
wipe, yes,
dun,
no.
dun.
Does the party manage to avoid detection?
I knew it.
Yeah. So outcome 1 is yes. Outcome 2 is no. So
Just don't give him a 5-to-1 ratio
Thank
on
you.
this.
Thank you, Mark of Corn, for continuing the pun. He has a sinking feeling about this.
Yep. So we will start the prediction. So feel free, everyone, to gamble your channel points if you feel so inclined.
You already know what I voted. You
I'm gonna
already
have to
fucking
click a
know what I
lot.
voted.
It's going by 10. I'm gonna drop like 2.5K on
You
this
should
bet.
be able to like custom do it by if you click on the channel point thing. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll let that run for a little bit.
Oh no.
Oh wait, was that only for hold up. I might have only put it up for a little bit. Let me real quick here. I need to quickly pull that back up. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Because I wanted to give you guys a little longer to do that. Yeah, finish just a little bit early. That's okay, that's okay. I'm gonna fix that. Bear with me 2 seconds.
Are you able to just reopen an old prediction? I wouldn't know.
I might be able to. I'm gonna try. So let me do that real quick here if I can. Manage prediction. There we go. Hold up. We are going to delete the prediction. Contributory votes will not be saved. All channel points will be returned. Yeah, there we go. So delete return points. Let's try that one more time, just because I do want to give you guys a little longer to do that. So let me do this. Will the crew avoid detection? Yes. No. Submission is going to be, I'll allow this for the next, we'll allow for 15 minutes. Because I'm going to bet that we don't have to reveal this within 15 minutes here. So we'll do that. There we go. Have fun, everyone. Gamble your points. You may go ahead and label your predictions now. I am extremely... Oh boy, we have a lot of pessimists here.
I just spent all my points in voting no. There, with the... Please let this be a stealth run. With the freeze? No way!
Oh my god. We have one believer. We have like two believers, 5 doubters that account for like a massive amount of channel points.
I have a mild amount of faith that we'll be able to do this stealthily.
Yeah, would it be horrible of me to spend 20k on no instead of, helping? This, for the record, this doesn't help or hinder. This is entirely just to see how do we get by here? Do we manage to avoid detection, or do we manage to be found out? So
with this crew, stealth is optional most times.
Yeah, I'm all in. Let's fucking go. I should have used more points. I wanted to win. I mean, you can use as many points as you want.
Win?
Use as many points as you want there.
I'm not gonna lie, seeing that there was a leaderboard on who's betting the most on the thing, I instantly stole that slot.
Yep.
And I'm still gonna flat 20k, but I'm debating whether or not I'm gonna throw that into.
I don't believe, but I'll join you.
Where'd you see the leaderboard?
So if you click the predict thing, all the things on the side, the bottom one is just like a big number, like left side is 2.7k, right side 22.7. If you mouse over it, it'll highlight and like show who it is.
Yeah, it'll tell you who's the most in. Fuck. Jake's the biggest believer here, and Ghost of the Valley is the biggest doubter so far. So that'll be fun.
I mean, no matter what amount of points I had, they all would have gone into no. If I had been saving up since the beginning, you'd see like a no vote of like 80,000 points.
That's also fair.
I did just spend 10k earlier while we were riding in the sub to pick up a loot box, so...
Oh,
thank you, Diamond. I believe in you with my 2k points. Thank you, Diamond. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Somebody has to believe, right?
Someone's got to believe.
Dr. J believes, but Cody does not.
Yeah, so Zeke's in the same boat. Poor bastard thinks he's gonna get out of here in one piece.
All right, on to ballast number dos.
Yeah, so on to ballast number 2. So,
all right, second verse, same as the first. You know how it goes.
Yeah, so you guys pull up the same rough distance from the ballast tank. And Poseidon again gives the announcement that says, all right, crew, we've arrived.
He grabs the next 3 charges and makes his way to the airlock.
Yep.
Can I add another radar check as I pop my helmet on?
Yep, sure. So you look at it and you still see those pings right where they were before, relative to your sub out toward the open water.
Can
That's
I point them out to
concerning.
wood shipper and just say, hey, could you keep an eye on those while we're out there? Just they've been sitting in the exact same spot for a while, and I want to
Yeah,
make
it's
sure
concerning.
That they
We're
don't.
already being monitored if they haven't moved on the radar. That's something moving with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so she says, I'll keep an eye on that. Yes. Fucking Jake comes in with the goddamn Illuminati eyes. Zeke starts launching grenades right after the vote ends. Just ensures the like slimmest margin of victory.
I'm winning my bet.
So with that said, you all get in the airlock. The same kind of process repeats, where the once you've sealed it off and you hit the the basically the equalize button with the outside, the chamber starts flooding. And after it has equalized with the outer edge of the sub, you get that same green light declaring it is safe to open the hatch.
Again, just like the last time, Zeke will push the release lever, slowly open the door, and again, very slowly, smooth movements, make his way over to the ballast tank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you move through the water very gracefully.
As we're going out this
That is
time, can I try and
gracefully
look in the direction that I saw the things on the radar and see if I can see a glint or anything?
Roll me
See the red
perception.
light.
Because if it is something actively following us, my guess is that it's going to be some kind of bot.
Fucking Mark, where did you even get that fish emote? What is that? Hold up, is that like, that's a global emote. Oh my god, that's incredible. Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's actually incredible. I love it. So, with that,
Guys, the anchor from SpongeBob's in the fucking chat.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. So,
Breaking news! Edgerunners die in submarine.
breaking news, everyone. Jesus. So, so you all look over. So, Wei, you look over and you don't see anything off in that direction. Nothing
All right,
catches
well-
your eye.
Well, I guess there's nothing to see there then. Hopefully it's just something adrift.
And again, just like at the last ballast tank, before doing anything, Zeke is checking for sensors of any kind.
Chat, you guys are all on another level right now.
Honestly.
Greetings, traveler, giant octopus arms.
Greetings, traveler.
So you're gonna check for those alarms or other devices that might pick you up. Go ahead and roll me
Yes,
perception.
before even so much as laying a pinky finger on this thing.
Okay.
Once again, I see shit.
You don't see anything.
Okay.
Who lives in a tiny sub under the sea?
Who lives in a tiny sub
Nobody.
under
They
the town?
died. What the fuck? Jesus. The chat. What is going on?
And again, Zeke is going to look to the other two for a double and triple confirm that there aren't any sensors.
Clutch or fish?
Let's do it. Let's get one out of the way. I smell it. That's actually
Whoa.
close.
That's a 2. Yeah, so you don't see anything. Dr.
Nope.
J, you rolled a 6. Okay, I see you. Okay. Yeah, so none of you see anything.
Place the first one on and stop to listen again.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me perception after you hear the thunk. Yep, you don't see anything.
Okay. And then the other two, and another pause to listen.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, you don't hear anything.
And another okay symbol to make the way back.
Yep.
On our way back.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Very interesting.
Look
Okay.
at this dude. This is really feel like I don't want to do this no more.
So, so with that, you guys return to the sub. You shut the hatch. You begin cycling the water.
I do want to say that on the way back this time, Zeke will radio into Wood Chipper that the charges have been planted.
Okay.
That
He says-
all of the charges have been successfully planted.
She says, okay, come on back. Successfully, says Mark in quotes.
My blood pressure is increased.
All right, we're off to a great start here. So, guys, if you have votes for the, if you guys have votes, I'd get them in now, because we're about to determine for real if they get detected or not.
Ah, so we did squeak by the last time, huh? I see how it is. And I have a feeling we didn't squeak by so easily this time.
So with that, you guys get in the airlock, seal it, and start the draining process. And once it is complete, the light flashes at you again, letting you know it's safe to return into the main kind of cabin of the sub itself.
Oh, yeah, let's get in.
Yep.
Not taking the wetsuit off, though, and keeping his helmet with him at all times.
Yep. All right. So, with that said, I might puke. I'm nervous this time. Don't puke. It's fine. You're not at the table. You don't have to deal with the consequences of these actions.
Bro, you about to send me into cardiac arrest with all this tension.
All of Cyberpunk Red is essentially just dealing with consequences. So.
It's Cyberpunk Red, more like rising blood pressure, the game.
The red is for the blood pressure.
The red is for when you flatline from cardiac arrest.
I ate Taco Bell anxiety. Must be something in the beefy Mel burrito. My Baja's blasting.
Oh, this is a good Monday.
It is a good Monday. That's so funny. So, you all skill issue. You'll kill upon me. Yeah, no, this makes my cinnamon twist. Dear God. Chad is full of bad puns tonight. So, you all get into the body of the sub. And I'm going to have our good friend Wood Chipper roll us her
Please.
check here. Okay. Very cool.
Turns out, didn't roll high enough. You hit an Arasaka ghost mine. Why are you
Make the
quiet?
GM laugh.
Why did you
and
not
be
laugh?
Merciful. There's no mercy in this GM. Mark understands the score here.
Yeah.
am brutal.
If we're fucked,
Mercy
he
is
just
not.
tells us outright we're fucked.
Yeah, mercy is not what makes him laugh. It is the exact opposite, and that's why his joy
Mercy-
is fucking scaring me right now.
Mercy isn't what makes him laugh. What makes him laugh is when we accidentally discover our fate. I don't want to do this no more.
Okay, that's fun.
If I don't have to punch a giant robot shark in the mouth during this campaign, I'd be disappointed.
I'm like, yeah, because Cody, you just have like Dr. J has these visions of like grandeur of like, yeah, that one time I punched a kraken in the fucking teeth in ELO, and I want to recreate that in real life. If
I
I'm
don't
gonna-
want to. You know how many times? You do know how many fucking times it took me to beat that raid?
I can imagine. That's a hard ass raid. So, the sub lurches forward and starts moving to the final waypoint. And
Zeke just gives a Dr. J and Way two detonators each, and he holds on to the other two. Once we're in position, we all detonate these at the same time.
Charlie, to pilot one of the missiles, would it be a cybertech check?
to pilot one of the missiles is either a pilot C vehicle check or a basic tech check.
Yikes. But I'm gonna let our good friend Woodchipper deal with that then.
Okay. The predictions are closed, everybody. Best of luck to all of you.
And just as a note, as we start to float up towards the third one, as soon as we make it back into the sub, I want to look to see if those same dots are on the radar, and then as we start moving, see if they track with us again. Just kind of watch them.
All right. So you actually get closer to them as you move toward this final waypoint.
Oh boy.
So, as you approach, now let me go ahead and get the prediction manager here ready to go. So you approach the blinking radar dot on the horizon here, and as the sub slows down to hold its position in the water, the dot doesn't immediately move as you're looking at it, but it does appear to have been, more or less holding its position relative to your ship as you've been approaching it.
Okay, so it's just stayed still as we've gotten closer, more or less.
Yep. The radar puts it at about probably 100 meters from you at this point.
Damn! That close?
Yep.
Well, salutes.
Watch it just be like a civilian craft just chilling.
Well, my guess at first was it's like a border guard actually provided by the nation. But we're on no, that would actually make more sense. We're on like the outer edge, right?
Aha, using your stream, I've positioned my cursor over to where I want it to be. We're like out around here, right?
Yes.
Or we're, like,
well,
closer?
you're within still, so you're kind of like more like here.
I was thinking our final position would take us like out here.
Got it.
Away from under it.
So I'm gonna have Woodchipper step in and pilot this thing then.
Yeah, that's where I imagined our final location would be, is the open ocean where we don't get crushed by the now sinking land.
Yeah, so like knowing that it's not quite where you intended to be, Woodchipper kind of takes the controls and starts moving you out. So I'm gonna do one final check here. Very interesting. Okay. So. Oh dang, she got 14. No, dude, she should have 15 body. Did they do something here where they decided to be goofy? Probably. Yeah, because she has a tech enhanced one, so she actually should have 15 body. So I will manually modify that. That must have been something that got... Oh, it's auto-adjusting it. I see, because of this... Hold on. I'll fix that in a moment. But she should have 15 body. Hers is linear enhanced. It's in or tech enhanced. So it's actually like very powerful. So as you guys move out into the open ocean, you pass more or less just to the side of this radar ping. And nothing moves in the water as you pass. You don't see anything out of the vid screens that serve as the windows or the sub. And you're wondering why this thing is pinging, because it is not visible to your eyes. So you position, you come to your position where you will hold. Nothing comes after you.
Okay, now the next step is to line up a shot on this third ballast tank, and once it's zeroed, we then launch the torpedo and then blow the C9.
Okay.
Can I do a quick have a quick question for the AI on board?
Mm-hmm.
Can't see anything. The radar only shows a blip. But if I were to ask Poseidon if there's anything nearby, would he have an answer?
So Poseidon says, I register 1 radar contact. IFF
Elaborate.
unclear.
Is there like a shortwave radio comm?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you guys have with Wood Chipper.
Can I just do like a quick scan to see if I see any open channels that are currently being communicated on?
Yes. Let me hold on. I'm just in the middle of. I need to like actually program in.
No, you're good. You're beefing her up.
Yeah, because I'm like, she should have 15 body, and it should be like non-negotiable. So, let me.
Best I can do is 14.
Yeah, for real. Cyberware. Cyberware. Tech enhanced. The tech upgraded linear frame. And then this thing is 5,000 eddies normally. Effects, create effect. Body up. Effects, create mod. Stat, body. Override. Effect value 15. And then this is edit the effect. It should be while it's on. Although that's fine, as long as it does what it's supposed to. So let me then move. Tick up. Oh, and I need to actually modify this. This is a internal cyberware, hospital level. Sorry everyone, I just need to make sure this is set up the way that it should be.
Well, that's fine. I'd rather 15 body if we're gonna have to punch things.
Fair. As option slots as a weapon.
I can't remember how. I think the scale might have one more tier that she falls into for punching damage, but honestly, I think she's like already max cap.
She's max cap, but it gives her an extra bit of hit points if she's got that extra point of body.
Yeah, because I just remember looking at it when I was building way of like, okay, if I'm gonna focus unarmed, it can only go up that much, even if I do get a bigger frame for more health.
Yeah.
That the bracket that I'm in is where the damage peaks.
Yep. Oh yeah. So this is Borgware. And yeah, we're going to close that and install this and then install this into, yep. Bam, there we go. And then I can just delete that one. Awesome, cool. So that should mean her body is now 15. Yeah, her hit points were still properly calculated. Okay, good. Sorry, everyone. Just needed to do that. Yeah, and Witcher was got a body. Yeah, she really does. She is thick. So with that, you all position yourselves. So what was the question going on there, Cody, that you wanted to identify after it says IFF unclear?
I can scroll through the shortwave radio and see if there's any channels currently being communicated on without making any noise to make myself noticeable.
You want to see if that's possible?
Yeah.
So scrolling through and listening isn't detectable largely because you're just receiving.
Okay.
So you can scroll through. No channels are being talked on as you scroll through things.
All right. Well, I did my due diligence. If anybody has any other smart ideas.
Anything else?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is to have Poseidon pre-program our return point before we launch these torpedoes. And then as soon as we launch them and detonate the C9, activate that return.
Well, and Poseidon already has a point of return plotted.
Okay, cool.
Yep. As you kind of go to do it yourself, you notice it has a point plotted closer to like the normal docks for the island.
And all we gotta do is get a shot lined up on the nearest ballast tank, fire a torpedo out that way, wait for confirmed impact, and then detonate the other two.
Do any of you have Neuralinks with like a interface plug or a subdermal grip?
Not me. But I did just have an idea. If only one torpedo is going to be used to try and sink that ballast, didn't we have two?
You do have two, yes.
We could send one as a dummy to see if that's some sort of bait drone and see how it procs before we get everything popping off around here. Send it off and see if it is just like once anything gets into proximity or pops off, if it decides to pop off, I'd rather have it chasing that thing halfway across the ocean than chasing us home.
I mean, if we fire a torpedo and that triggers it, like, then I'd much rather have two possible shots to hit this ballast tank rather than one, because if we fire this torpedo and something chases after it to knock it down, we can follow up with a second one, so it'll have to grab that one, and the second follow-up will be able to break past it.
Checks out.
Because if it's like an automated thing, it'll probably like take it down and then start moving off somewhere, so its scanner, depending on if it's like a directional scanner.
The other thing I'd like to remind you all is that these drones, these torpedoes are drones of a kind. So you can control them. They do have onboard cameras.
However, I assume they don't have they have like a specific travel time that they have. So after a while, they'll just stop going.
Yeah, like they're battery powered as far as like the impellers go, because they're relatively small. But yeah, you could probably only travel them for about 400 meters before they burn out.
And we are within range of that ballast, right?
Yeah, well, you're within 400 meters. You're within about 300.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Did you ask about Neuralink or subdermal grips, Charlie?
I was, only because there's some stuff that could be done with that if you have them.
No, I don't.
We've already got our ocean pilot. I trust her to guide the bombs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So you basically tell Wood Chipper to begin to line up the shot and everything?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to have her roll it. Okay. So she preps one of the torpedoes for launch. It loads into the bay. You hear that pneumatic hiss as it is raised and loaded forward. And then it is launched through the water. And out ahead of the sub on the vid screen in the front, you can see this thing whizzing out into the open water. And I'm going to make one final roll here. Okay. So the torpedo does find its way to the ballast tank. And Wood Chipper gives you a warning. She says, got about 5 seconds before this thing impacts. Get ready with the detonators.
Yep. Got him in hand.
Prepped to detonate.
Yep. And so this thing lurches forward, and you see the explosion of bubbles and fire ahead as the underside of this ballast tank is ripped open.
Instantly detonating mine.
Same.
Yep, it's clacker time.
Yep. And it takes a little bit because, like I said, you're probably a good, couple kilometers
he's
out.
pulling that trigger and holding until they hear more additional booms.
Yeah, and you hear, reverberating through the water, you hear this. And all of a sudden, you feel like a rumbling in the water around you. And
now it's go time. That's like, get that return program going.
Yep. Yeah, Diamond says, time to Delta.
Delta the fuck out.
Delta the fuck out. So, you hear rumbling in the water around you. The superstructure of the Militech shelf starts collapsing into the water. The ping on the radar ahead of you begins moving, and you notice the camouflage roll back off of this thing, revealing a massive Militech submarine that has been moored in front of you a couple 100 meters.
Is there an analog station for controlling these torpedoes?
Yes. Yep.
Cool. You already know.
Diamond, no!
You already know. Just Zeke will look at Wayne. I trust you can load the torpedo.
He's already on it.
All right, Zeke will take up position in the bay, in the analog bay, to hopefully get it booted up so he can fucking see this thing.
So Diamond says my point.
Yep. See, this is why we predict no for things like detection.
Yeah. So let's see. So will the crew avoid detection? Choose the outcome. No, they did not avoid detection.
Doubters always prosper.
So we're not going to show that again. We're just going to complete the prediction. And there we go. Prediction result is no.
No.
If it makes you feel any better, we tried our hardest. We made it all the way to the end.
Can the crew detect? Can the crew
So
avoid
for those
detection?
of you who cannot
No.
visually see this, we've got 70,000 points go between Ghost of the Valley and 5 others. So on that note, you see this thing decloak in front of you. And at this point, I would like to propose we take our break.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Sounds about right.
Yep. So let's go ahead and take our break, and we'll be back. At least I'll be back in a couple minutes. We'll get the game going here again in about 15 minutes probably. But I'll be back to chat with all of you in chat in just a moment. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Hold. Hey everyone, it's Emmerron here. I just want to thank you for watching the show here on YouTube. Like and subscribe. And go follow us over on Twitch, you gonk. We do a live show over there. We even chat with you after it's done. So come and join us Mondays, 7 p.m. Arizona time. See you there in the dark future, tunes. All right, everyone, we are back. Well, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. Took us just a sec here to get things back in order. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. So you guys see a massive Militech sub decloak in front of you here, with the shrapnel of an island falling apart behind it. And this thing turns around to face you. What would you all like to do as this is happening?
Well, I believe we've said it before when going to break, but Ezekiel turned away and just say, I trust you can load that next torpedo.
Yep, and I was in the process of loading it up for him while he finds the controls.
Sits down, gets, hopefully manages to get the controls on.
Yeah, that was where Wood Chipper was controlling it before. So you're just kind of pushing her out of the way and just like...
Oh, no, I thought it was a separate thing. That's why I said I'll sit down. Because I said, is there an analog station? You're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I thought she's at the pilot bay.
Right,
there's a separate analog station.
Nope, no, it's the same exact one.
Then I will trust her.
Yeah, even better, she can shoot it.
Cool. So you're just gonna tell her, hey, that thing, shoot it? Is that my understanding? Cool.
Yeah, just blow a hole in it, please.
All right. So, how many rounds for this giant submarine to turn around? I mean, it's gonna take a sec or two, but yeah, it's big, but it's pretty quick.
It's a controlled torpedo.
Yeah.
Right?
No, the torpedo.
So, I mean,
Prepper Jack was talking about the massive sub in front of you turning around. So let me have her pilot C vehicle, roll this, go ahead. Okay, not bad. She's been pretty consistent on that 15. So she launches this torpedo, and really quick, doing some math.
Uh-oh. We get scared when the GM does math.
Mm-hmm. So the torpedo looks as though it's about to miss. The good news is, this is a smart torpedo. And she only missed it by... What did I just drop? Oh, I dropped my GM screen. I don't know how that happened. So let me see. D10 plus 10. There it is. There it is. Yeah, Wood Chipper is going to succeed at running this thing right into it. So this thing explodes with the force of a rocket, meaning 8d6 damage.
Let's go!
Taro, baby! Let's go! All right. Well,
I can't scream because I've
through the shadow realm with this
dumbass
we have,
that's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about.
We have not had a tarot in quite some time.
It's been a hot minute. I think the last tarot was what, episode 10, or if not before.
I think it's been since then, but it's been a while. It's probably been close to 10 episodes. So the tarot.
I mean, this is a perfect spot to tarot, right?
For real though, yeah, no. So
depending on what it is, don't tempt the deck.
So I've got the card here. We are going to. I need to pull the DLC up because I had to close all my DLC out before starting the game tonight. So let me.
Well, I mean, I know unless we've drawn a lot more cards than I thought.
Evan, thank you for the gift sub. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Dragon Cat, welcome to the subs. Enjoy your emotes. So let me. Was it under... That's Night City Weather. Oh, no, it's going to be under Player Systems. Additional Player Systems. There it is. Cool. All right. So I've got my reference page. The tarot...
Oh, boy.
is the tower.
The tower.
The tower is usually very foreboding in a spread, so I'm going to be really interested to see.
The tower in Binding of Isaac drops bombs everywhere, just like we just did to that sub.
Yeah. So the tower in this case, so the victim in this case is a vehicle. So this is going to be very interesting because you're all going to love this. The victim suffers the following injuries: cracked skull, crushed windpipe, whiplash. The injuries deal no bonus damage. For 1 hour, the victim cannot feel pain and can ignore the effects of the seriously wounded wound state.
Remember when I said that rapid decompression is bad?
Oh no!
I just imagined a crunch.
Dude, a crack in the hull of a submarine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's catastrophic failure.
Yeah. So the damage on that was 31. Plus, this one doesn't do any extra damage, but it is a tarot critical injury. So, yeah, this thing is going to drop a giant crack in the hull of this sub.
Oh, and crushed windpipe, you could interpret that as damaged life support.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do exactly that. So, like, the superstructure. Evan, thank you so much. Oh, Shannon, thank you so much for the sub. I appreciate it. Thank you. Die inside hearing tower as a tarot reader. Yeah, I know. Like, I know just enough tarot to be like aware, and tower is like, oh, that's not great. But yeah, so you watch as the missile hurtles forward into the side of the sub, explodes, and you see a rush of seawater collapse into the crack that this thing leaves in the hull. And you just see the superstructure of this crumple, and it starts to sink rapidly to the bottom. They became aware of you, and then they were no more.
They became aware of us, and then they forgot because they couldn't remember anymore.
They crumple and they go bye-bye.
We are discovered in the form of a black box. Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Yeah, exactly.
Full speed.
Rapid compression.
Full speed, get us to the return point.
Yep, so Poseidon says, confirmed, moving to return point. And so with that, I'm going to just clear my drawings here. Yep, there we go. And so you guys make it back to the docks of the MetaKey. And the ever helpful Anderson is waiting as you guys emerge from the surface of the water, dock the sub up.
Get back into my normal clothes.
Yeah, and the Poseidon says, "It has been a pleasure serving you as a member of Meta today. Powering down sub now." And the various lights and such begin to just dim down until you just have the running lights of the kind of like emergency lighting system as the dock sequence finishes.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm the only person, but the inside of any sort of vehicle with just like the red running lights going, it's something beautiful.
Yep. So nobody can sound the alarm if nobody can sound the alarm. Exactly. Truth. Based and true. So
do we refund all the people that lost their points because we were detected, but we weren't really reported?
Well, I mean, we didn't evade detection, so no. We were detected.
You were detected. You just dealt with that detection very quickly. To be honest, that tarot saved your guys.
That's what I'm saying.
That tarot was god tier. I don't know that you could have gotten a better one.
That's
actually, though, the only thing that comes to mind that could have actually been a tarot is if there was a card effect that we drew that just like your target implodes. It was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Which is basically what you got.
We got what happened to everybody on the inside of that implosion.
Yeah, no, cracked skull, no, cracked hull, yes.
Yeah. Crushed windpipe, no. Crushed life support systems, yes.
Yes.
And whiplash, well, that's just everything buckling in on itself rapidly.
I mean, whiplash, it could have like been hit with such an impact that it like throws the sub off kilter violently.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's that. So yeah, you guys emerge and Anderson is waiting there at the dock and says, all right, so the task gets done.
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah, and you actually hear off in the distance the sound of, and you just see this like massive tower bearing the Militech logo tumble over oceanward as the remaining superstructure begins to crumble.
The land has dramatic timing.
Yeah, and Anderson looks up at this thing as it is collapsing into the ocean. Full send, he says.
And Zeke just looks back at him with this like dumbass grin of just pride. Like it's almost like childlike pride.
all I can really see is like, so the angle is from like behind Anderson, and Zeke's just grinning, and behind the grinning Zeke is the fucking falling tower.
Goddamn,
you can say that.
It is appropriate that you guys pulled the fucking tower when you're collapsing this thing.
Oh yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Wait, that means, oh no, we've seen 2 towers today.
Uh-huh.
And one has fallen.
God damn it!
You can't do that.
Dude, I can't believe that there has been a setup for 2 disaster jokes in one stream.
I couldn't have a month ago when I was prepping what came at the meta, I could not have prepared for the fact that we would lose a sub and that it would rapidly be decompressed, okay? I had no way of predicting that.
Wait, that's 3! That's actually 3 then! Oh my god!
These memes
oh my
cannot
god.
steal beams! Diamond, thank you for the 200 bits. I appreciate it.
Too soon. Oh my god.
Oh, that's so funny. So yeah, so you guys clip it. Yeah, please, someone clip it. Go ahead. So with that said,
I'm gonna have a headache from laughing.
Right kind of problem to have, honestly. Clip, I am unmovable.
Oh my god.
I leave that to anybody else. But so Anderson looks at you all and says, so I think the chief will want to hear about this.
Oh, he'll love to hear about this.
Yep. And you all remember that he says, please contact me when it's done.
I mean, I'm just gonna. I don't really want to message him on my agent, so I guess we could just go back to the same place we were.
Sure. Yeah, and Anderson basically points to a compact vehicle, not another Ebby, but it was basically just like a regular old kind of econo car that has the same features as that Ebby, where it's big enough for you all to fit. He says, I will happily drive you all back to headquarters if you need to report in that way. I'm screaming IRL at work in this empty building. Hell yeah, that's what we love.
So I've made a clip.
Oh, good.
Never guess what the title is.
Oh, good God. You can post it. It should, I think I've trained the bot to ignore clip.twitch. I think. So test it for me if you would, Ghost. It worked! Yes! Good. Finally, Nightbot will stop being a bitch about clips now. That's good. Because that's been so annoying for me. Awesome. These memes cannot steal beats. I'm gonna go ahead and just quickly copy this over and post this in the Discord. Getting canceled day one. Yeah,
Canceled
exactly.
day one into his full-time career.
Yeah, exactly. I become a full-time content creator, and this happens right now. Of course.
Dude, this is what, day 2 technically?
No, this is actually day one.
This is
officially,
actually day 1.
because this is the first day I'm not going to work anywhere else. So the weekend doesn't quite count in the same way. So yeah, let me go ahead and put memes and clips. There we go. There we go. We got it. Clip is posted to the Discord. So permaban T-. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. So you all arrive after a trip through the canals and the bypasses of the island to the gleaming tower at the center of the MetaKey. Boys, we got. God damn it! Why is everyone memeing today? Everyone is like, it is meme Monday.
You want to know why everybody's doing it? Because it's
Why?
easy.
'Cause it's
And it does a lot of damage.
good fucking god. So you guys arrive at the center of the MetaKey, back to mission accomplished.
If you were here on a mission like that, you might want to find work elsewhere.
Help. Oh my god.
No one can help you now.
No,
This
you're-
is your job.
This is my job. Why did I choose to be canceled as my job?
It was okay. The cancel part. That wasn't your job. That was your destiny.
That's... Help. Someone fucking help. Okay. So memes aside, back to the focus of the game itself. Before we derail further, Jesus Christ, Jake, I swear to God. Thank you for the
Dude.
420 bits.
This has been the best Monday of the entirety of my 5 years living in California.
Oh my god. Dude, you were living in California for about as long as I was at my last job. Holy crap. That's actually incredible to realize. Because I'm like, yeah, after 5 years, this is probably one of the best nights I've had. That's pretty good. With that,
Inferno.
meme on Inferno, exactly. Jesus. So
If you don't have that in parentheses at the end of the title of this episode on YouTube, I will throw a fit.
I'll put it in the community post because I like my naming convention to stay the same, but I will put it in the
Put it
community
in the
post.
description.
Yeah, I could do that. I could do
In
that.
this episode of Meme on Inferno.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So, as you guys approach the central tower, the spire at the middle of the MetaKey, the car descends below again into the parking garage, letting you unload. I'm sorry, this Netrunner is a menace. Yeah, for real, Diamond. This is why normally I post like for the duration of the stream. I'm not interacting with chat in the middle of the stream because otherwise this happens. So you arrive at the parking garage. Anderson lets you all out and takes you back up the elevator to the boardroom where Jonathan Meta is still sitting. And he has scattered across the table in front of him a series of reports that are pouring in on hollow sheets that are all reporting the moment-to-moment happenings of the collapse of Militech on the MetaKey.
So we're just walking into this room.
You're just
with
walking into the room that he's in.
Yep.
And
Just as I walk in, I'm just gonna be like, "Oh, news about that tragedy's already spreading, huh?"
And he says, yeah, it's really quite unexpected and truly regrettable. And he looks up at you all and says, I've arranged lodgings for you all for the night as our new esteemed partners and compatriots, shall we say, in this next few weeks of, well, whatever this will end up being. So, I've arranged some rooms for you, and I need to get my notes back up because somehow I lost them in the middle of all of that nonsense.
I can't blame you.
Yeah,
That was a storm.
it really was.
Charlie, does he have anything to say the fact that I look completely different?
He notices your clothing is the same, and he kind of you see his eyes rest on you for just a moment, and then he kind of continues talking. He says, "I've arranged lodging for you at the Calm Tides Inn, a short distance from the tower here." So
Ain't that ironic?
it's almost like I wrote it that way. So says, "You've all more than earned your rest in helping me with that problem that we discussed earlier. So
One hell of a problem.
I will deal with the situation on the ground, but all of you, please go take your rest. You've more than earned it."
And before anything, we're the only ones in the room, right?
Yes, yeah, the door is shut
Zeke,
by wood chipper behind you.
just to be extra safe, Zeke does want to just lean in and let him know that just for a split second, a Militech sub decloaked and engaged them, but they sunk it. Just like a quick hushed thing.
Yeah. And he says, "Yes, that's truly unfortunate. I heard they were doing some joint military exercises with the U.S. military nearby, and wow, it's really quite unfortunate what happens when you accidentally replace a live round and when it should have all been dummies."
Zeke just nod. Like, it is really unfortunate.
Truly. I heard that she had a crew of about a dozen sailors. Their families will be most aggrieved, I am sure.
Yeah, no, I'm out. I'm done. I'm going
Yeah,
out.
it's been a long day.
Yeah, it's been a lot of memeing going on here.
It has been one. You know what? I'll just wait. I'll wait.
You'll just wait.
I'll wait.
Yeah, so you guys head down from the tower, and the paths that lead out of the tower itself, you see what you are quickly appreciating is like kind of like a garden of paradise in a way, where you just kind of see these hanging gardens aligned along the footpaths leading out from the central building. You walk for maybe about 4 blocks worth of distance down into what is a more mercantile district of the MetaKey. And you come to a fairly nice looking 4-story hotel that has on a bright blue neon sign the Calm Tides Inn. And as you walk inside, the whole lobby is abuzz with people chattering about this collapse that has just occurred. Someone's got a TV on in the corner that is loudly reporting from WNS about this horrible loss of life that has been experienced by Militech. So far, the missing persons count is up to 5 figures, and per the reporter on screen, is expected to further increase. And it is this scene that the 3 of you plus Wood Chipper walk in on. And the desk looks fairly crowded by people who are all demanding to know more about what's happening.
The desk that we have to check in at?
Yes, that desk.
Can I just muscle my way through the crowd?
I'm just gonna be right behind Way.
Yeah, you're much bigger than the vast majority of the people here. There's maybe 1 or 2 of them who look about as bulky as you do, but yeah, you pretty quickly push through all the smaller people. And The attendant says, we are working our best, our quickest to figure out what's going on. Please, everyone, return to your rooms. And she looks up as you kind of like push your way to the front of the crowd here. She says, sir, please return to your room. We're trying to get the situation established under control as quickly as we can.
Zeke will step around and be Zeke will step around and be like, "Oh, don't worry, it's a tragedy. We're not here to cause any trouble. We're just checking in."
Oh yes. And you see this woman down the counter a ways here. You need to refund me right now. I was promised that this was going to be a nice vacation.
You have him here too, huh?
She kind of looks down sorrowfully. Yeah, unfortunately, as she's as quick as possible processing several key cards for the three of you and Wood Chipper to have your rooms. And so as soon as she's done, she pushes them over to you and says, "Here you go. Have a wonderful..." I said refund! Okay, ma'am. And she kind of like wanders over to the far end of the desk here where this woman is screaming at her from.
Yeah, and as Zeke walks over towards, I assume, elevator to go up to his room,
Yep.
he like looks up at the screen showing the tragedy, showing the scene of the tragedy, and he doesn't have to really act because he does get this little like depressed look because he knows that there were inevitably innocent people there unaffiliated with Militech that died, so he just gives this little head shake, just trying to reconcile what essentially had to be done.
Yep. So you all find your way up to your rooms, and you all see the sun beginning to set outside the windows. All of your rooms are provided as, window facing rooms. Fortunately, away from the Militech building. It looks like Mr. Meta thought at least that far ahead for you all, that maybe you wouldn't all want to gaze upon your handiwork or the emergency response that follows. So it's of course inevitable that you do see some emergency vehicles flying past your windows in that direction, but that is by and far the last of it that you see as the day drags on to the sunset that is splashed red over the waters of the Pacific. So as night descends here, what is everyone looking to do? Are we looking to just kind of pass out? What's the plan here?
Is there a janitor's closet on our floor?
Sure. Yeah.
I am going to sleep in there instead of my room.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. So yeah, you find your way over there, and you're in there for maybe half an hour before the actual janitor does come by and see you there. Sir, this isn't a room.
It is for now. Leave me be and work around it.
Roll me persuasion.
Yeah. I'm gonna feel bad for this guy if he doesn't listen.
Right. This is gonna go from a persuasion to a face down. It's gonna get real scary for him if he doesn't, but I think he will.
Oh yeah. So this guy like looks at you and says, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll." And he rearranges some of the contents in the room to kind of allow you a space near the back of it all, and like leaves a walkway for you to leave the room through, but basically rearranges it such that like he can get what he needs without bothering you. And he grabs like a couple of bottles of like cleaning solution and one of like the cleaning basically it's like a hybrid mop and vacuum, and takes that and like leaves you in the room and shuts the door behind him. So that is what you see. So yeah, you for the other two here, so Dr. J and Zeke, what are you guys doing?
You can go ahead.
Well, Zeke is just gonna retire to his room, lay in his bed, and as usual, just chat with the other members of his band. But out of the blue, this time he just asks the rest of the band, "Have you ever had to do something, but afterwards it really sinks in how irreversibly bad it was?"
And from here, actually, as you try to send out to the band, your agent reminds you, warning, this is a message placed over an intercity connection. You may be charged for excess messages sent this way, and there will be a delay of delivery. Do you still want to send them?
He'll cancel the send and just try his best to go to sleep in that case.
Yep. Sure.
Because he is flat broke.
Yeah, and he's having a moment. Go ahead, Zeke, roll me.
Because he's not thinking about anybody affiliated with Militech. It's everyone that wasn't affiliated with Militech on that died that he's thinking about. He's like, yeah, this doesn't feel good.
Can you roll me a D10, please? Bet. All right. Go ahead and roll me a D6 for humanity loss, please. Five. All right. We're going down to 1 empathy.
Yep.
Yep. So you'll just drop the humanity and then click the humanity button. It'll recalculate your empathy. So, as you try to find sleep, you in your mind can hear this faint screaming off in the distance as you think of the hundreds or thousands that were caught up in this that didn't deserve to be.
And I will say that during all of this thinking, the last thought that will cross Zeke's mind before he manages to drift off to sleep is, maybe I should be in that Inferno at the end of all this.
Yeah, and as you fall asleep, your dreams are haunted by this image of a burning tower collapsing mere feet in front of you.
Noted.
Yep. Dr. J, what are you doing?
Dr. J is in bed, covers over body with his ELO headset on. Is exactly what he's doing.
Could not be bothered.
The flight over reignited passion for leveling new characters.
Yep.
But he really wants to go punch that Kraken in the mouth. So he's going to hop on one of his leveled characters and go stomp the raid.
So the one thing you notice as you log in is because you're not on the Night City air gap anymore, you're only given the option to create a new character. None of your leveled characters are available because you're actually not on the same server.
All right, well, he sees that and he goes, fuck it. And he just starts up a brand new character.
Yep. And you start going right back through the same leveling process that he went through with Way the other night. Except this time there's no friendly 8-bit or your elf line to fall back on. It's just...
I was going to say this time I'm skipping the tutorial.
Yeah, this time you probably are skipping the tutorial at least.
It's speed run time.
Yeah. And you find that the MetaKey servers are far less populated than the ones in Night City. Especially today with the thing over at Militech. As a matter of fact, when you do eventually get to the Autumn Hold, you find that even here, that's all anyone's talking about is the horrible thing that's happened.
So I'll get there. I'll see that, and I'll be like, oh fuck it, I'm going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Just take the headset off, put it down, cover up my entire body again, because I just want to be under the sheet. I don't want anybody to see shit if they walk into this room.
Yep. So go ahead.
I'm even gonna sleep with my gun.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll me a d10.
Let me get back over to my wonderful foundry.
Very fun. All right. Roll me a d6 for humanity loss. 2. All right. So you are at 2 empathy still.
Yep.
And as you eventually find sleep, you have this image of the sub that you saw down at the edge of MetaKey today, opening up with a maw of razor sharp, shining steel teeth and just chomping down on the tiny sub that you guys were all in. As
seems like rational fear.
Yeah, as behind it, you just see the rubble of the Militech tower on MetaKey falling into the water, and a Militech M drifting behind this thing as it's lunging at the sub. And Wei, as you settle into your fairly uncomfortable floor in the janitor's closet, go ahead and roll me a d10 for you.
I don't think there's anything to roll under. I'm 0.
I'll still accept a 1 in your case to be a success.
Alright, the one time. I haven't gotten a 1 tonight, so it might actually happen.
Yeah, I'll still accept a 1 to be successful for you.
Oh, the exact opposite.
Good joke,
Well,
good
fuck
joke.
you too,
Yeah.
game.
D10, or excuse me, D6. Oh, 6.
Cool, so I got 2 left.
You got 2 left.
Oh,
2
no.
humanity.
As an argument, he doesn't really give a shit about anybody that was in there, and this isn't a good thing. It's not an argument against humanity loss because he is getting closer to that
No.
edge. Because he is deleting, because what was it? Arasaka, basically all the argument that came up when he went to war with them was complete removal. He wants to
Right.
completely remove anything that is an issue, and this is just closer to that madness.
Right, and so you see in your mind the thousands of dead bodies that you've left in your wake, all crammed together, floating on the water of the Pacific Ocean amidst the rubble of the Militech Tower. And you glimpse at them uncaringly, literally using them as stepping stones to walk back toward a distant night city that you could see with a skyline on fire as you approach it.
That's such a dope image.
And so, when the morning comes, you all wake up. Wei, you may be a little uncomfortably, but your linear frame kind of helps you withstand the worst of it. You all find yourselves back to the helipad. And Woodchipper, as you kind of all come to consciousness, messages you saying, "Hey, flight out of here leaves at noon." And you look at your, your time on your agents, or whatever. Those of you who are in your rooms, the clock that would be sitting next to your bedside. You all wake up around like 9 a.m. So you have a couple hours to burn before the flight is scheduled to leave to head back to Night City.
Zeke is just gonna get there early. He's feeling like shit now.
Yep. Yeah, and you can still, in the morning, as you take what passes for like a metro here over to the...
It was not a restful night for him.
No, it was not. And you clearly remember that burning tower in your mind. And as you take the metro for the MetaKey over to the what passes for like an airport there, over on the part of the Skyline where the Militech tower was the day before, you see rising from it a pillar of smoke that is far more distant than you would have thought it was possible, until you remember, that's right, it detached and fell into the sea.
Dr. J's gonna wake up, throw the headset on, and as he walks downstairs to either try to vend it or some kind of continental breakfast, is gonna continue to level his character until he's no longer able to access these servers.
Yep, and you find a comfy corner. The vendits here actually have some half decent pre-pack. This is, there's no real continental breakfast in many places because fresh food's hard to find, but they got vendits aplenty, and these ones are like the good continental brands vendits. You've got a couple of like stuffed Belgian waffles and some like synth egg that pretty much tastes like the real thing as far as you're concerned. So buy some of that, buy a bottle of tea or juice, whatever kind of drink passes for good for you, and sit down and just grind away on your Segatari.
Zeke will just like start scrolling the sheets of the disasters to see if any survivors were rescued or made it out, and see what that count is.
Yes. So the reports on the scream sheets this morning place the missing number of people at roughly 20,000, with only a few hundred, about 200, having been actually rescued by emergency response crews at the time.
And is there any gauge on how many of those missing are Militech affiliated and how many civilians were on the platform at the time?
So,
because that's what he's really looking for, is the metrics on Militech to civilians, because he's really hoping that it's like a 5-to-1 ratio of Militech to civilian on the worst end.
And so you probably feel a little better seeing what they've reported on that then, because they do report that the office was primarily focused on Militech staff, and that civilians generally weren't allowed on the plate to start with. So unless there was someone there that was like visiting an employee of the company or something in a very limited capacity, the vast majority of the people that died were Militech affiliated. Like, the report specifically mentions that most of the people lost were strictly Militech employees, and that they've reached out for Militech to comment, and no comment has been given at time of reporting.
And that's a sigh of semi-relief.
Yeah. So, like, you recognize that the vast majority of the people who died were not what you maybe define as innocent.
Time for next steps then, I guess. Also known as time to distract himself with work.
Yep. So, for Dr. J, you basically spend most of your time kind of chilling on the yellow between the hotel and the subway, or the metro, I should say, over to the airport when it gets close enough time to go. Wei, what are you doing as you kind of wake up and get rolling for the morning?
First stretch and probably crack the million joints that need to be stretched back into place after sleeping on the ground. Then just probably going to go through the morning exercise without being able to train on his usual dummy, and head downstairs and just head out, I guess. Ain't nothing special here to do.
Fair. So yeah, you head out, hit the metro, and Wei and Zeke, you probably get there a little bit ahead of time. Dr. J, as you walk up, you see the both of them kind of sitting there waiting, or, you know, kind of doing whatever they can to kind of pass the time. And Wood Chipper shows up about that same time as you, and says, all right, crew, well, let's head back to Night City.
Can't wait to get back. I've got some tunes to talk to.
I'm gonna look around and make sure that Electo and Persephone are at least on the plane before we leave.
Yeah, no, and they for whatever reason, they weren't with you all on the operation the day before. Both of them are sitting there fiddling around on their agents when you get on the craft. So as you all load in, the AV spins up and launches off of the pad, and you quickly see the sight of MetaKey diminishing behind you. And as you do, nothing's really left to follow you into the sky. You just see it diminish, and a few hours later you see the skyline of Night City approaching underneath you about midday, maybe a little bit into the afternoon, between noon and 2. And the AV moves to the Aldecaldo camp outside the city, being that that's where you guys originally took off from. And as you all land there, you all start, the moment you're within range, your agents start to pick up the city net. Excuse me. Thank you. Along with any kind of pending messages that were waiting. And the primary thing that you get is a message from Rex letting you all know, Chooms, I've got some things that I'm still working on, but I've found a safe place for you all to lie low. I don't think it's necessarily safe for you to return home right now, but I've worked out an old safe house. The last place I think anyone would go looking for you. I've sent cars to the camp. When you land, they should be waiting for you.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
I'll just run back and say okay.
Not a word from Zeke.
Yep. So you all find your way to the ground on the AV. Once the door opens up, sure enough, not too far at all from where the AV's landed, you see a couple men in suits around a very nice looking limo that is very standout from the rest of the camp. And waiting to meet you there are not only Rex's men, but Geo and a couple of the Sand Vipers. And Geo looks over at you all and says, all right, Chooms, we are your security detail heading back into the city. So we'll guard you through to there. Rex has told us to remain nearby just in case something goes south, but time to go into the final stage of things.
Wouldn't have anybody else security, I'll tell you that.
And he kind of grins at you as you say that. So with that, one of Rex's men in suits opens the door to the limo and welcomes you all inside.
Afternoon.
Cool.
Yep.
So you all begin driving back to the city, flanked by the nomad caravan around you. No one comes out to attack you. Again, you weren't discovered, so no one to come after you. And the city emerges in front of you right about the time that the sun begins to set. And the three of you are all reckoning with the fact that as this sets behind several of the skyscrapers near the Glen that you're approaching as you enter the city, it almost looks like they're lit on fire as you head toward not the Glen itself, but make a turn up towards Old Japantown. And then again turning towards the fringes of the hot zone. And in front of you sits a flickering neon sign with purple light that simply says the Inferno. And the cars come to a stop right there. The driver comes around, opens the door and says, "This is your stop."
And Zeke will look up at the sign, just, what is this?
Everybody steps out and says, "This place looks like a shithole."
If you say it looks like a shithole, then I hate to see where you've been.
Well, wasn't the Inferno the like original hideout that it had gotten raided on? That's why everything just kind of fell apart there, and we had to really focus on Rex's point. Like, out of character, that was one of the major story shifts. So I imagine, like, if you ever played Scarface, The World Is Yours, the setting, the end of that is like the post-Scarface movie mansion where it's like bullet holes everywhere, things are torn up, like things like that decay over time, but it's still going to look down a rundown shithole.
Yeah, and Zeke's like never been here, so he legitimately doesn't know.
Yeah, so
he's
like
only ever operated out of Synapse.
Yeah, well, Zeke, you probably would know of the Inferno from your club connections, because it was one of the bigger Edgerunner bars that, until you heard about what happened there, you kind of had always wanted to like play a gig or two here just to see what it was like. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is where every rocker boy has to play, like some of the other places you've been to since, like Dead Drop. But it is one of those places that you're like, man, I always wondered what happened inside there. And as you all kind of...
He would have heard about this anyway, since he would probably have heard something from Red Eye. He knew him as Derek, though. Right, exactly. So, like, and he probably would have messaged you a couple times about, hey, I got gigs out of the Inferno. So, like, yeah. Zeke just looks up at it, just, I wonder how that boy's doing nowadays. Yeah. And as you walk inside, the club definitely has seen better days, but it doesn't maybe look as decrepit as you're imagining. The bullet holes that are there have largely been kind of plastered or concreted over to allow for like them to be patched and not be as obvious. The bar largely sits empty, but you could tell, like, it's not like there's shattered glass everywhere or anything. It's not like there's like a derelict building necessarily. The inside looks like it's almost undergoing renovations. And sitting there at the bar as all of you gather, kind of gather in the entryway here, sitting at the bar with a glass full of blue liquor is Rex. And he says, well, welcome to home for the next week or so, Chooms, while I figure out the last couple of elements of our little plan.
I sure hope you have plenty of that to share, bud.
Yeah. Zeke will, like, just, I don't know if you've heard, but we got the cooperation of Meta, at least for now.
The scream sheets have been talking about the exact qualities of your success with them. So when they told me that you were headed back today, I knew everything must have gone well, because I doubt you would have left any other way.
Well, plan doesn't allow for much wiggle room, so can't exactly take no for an answer.
No, you certainly can't. And so he sits there, takes a sip of his drink. He says, those of you who want something, I have a bit of a stockpile that I could pull out from behind the bar. But the bunker in the back that we used to use as a safe house, me and Royal, it's still operational, still there. And again, he kind of like nods his head off to one side as he says this, almost feeling the distaste of using the word. Says, those pigs that raided this place, they didn't find it. So it's well stocked with some pre-pack, some kibble, enough for you all to lay low a couple of days here while I finish the last elements of preparation. Give me a few more days here, maybe a week most, and we'll have ourselves one hell of a fireworks display.
I don't even wait for him to find the stuff behind the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna go there and browse and look for the oldest, most nice looking bottle I can find.
Yep. And as you grab back there, from behind you, you hear a door open, and Royal wanders out into the club space here. And he says, okay, boss, we just got the last of that. The crew's here. Better not touch my good shit. And then he looks at the bottle you're already pouring into a glass, Dr. J. And he says, fuck. Okay, well, I guess I can share.
I'm gonna look at him when he says fuck. I'm like, well, bud, we just pulled off something real big. I think I deserve it.
And he says, yeah, Rex has already told me all about it. Screams are full of it. You probably do earn that. And, but he walks up beside you, pulls a glass out, and takes the bottle from you and pours himself a drink as well. And so Rex simply asks of all of you, so, any last minute questions, preparations, anything that I can get you all?
Well, I'm sure you've already probably thought of this, but with what we're doing, if there needs to be some sort of manual failsafe on the package. Timer doesn't work out, end of the day, someone might need to stay behind.
He says, I've already worked some suitable persons for that job. So, rest assured.
Should it come to that, they're going to be out of a job.
What do you mean?
If we need a manual failsafe to set this thing off, I want to be the one to bite that bullet.
Rex looks down at his drink and then up at you, and he says, I thought you were headed to Kahukura. Thought that was the crew's plan.
After seeing the aftermath of what we did, Zeke shakes his head. I don't know how much longer I can live with that on my conscience.
And he says, what do the rest of Afterimage think? Or not Afterimage, what does the rest of Asymmetry think of that?
Well, they don't know. And honestly, I want to keep it that way. They don't... They're crazy enough they might just charge straight into that blaze with me. And I don't want that coming with me to the afterlife.
And he nods at that and simply says, you know, I'm not one to breach anyone's trust, but were I you, I would consult with the family that I have, regardless of what kind of a family they are, before making so serious a choice. And I assure you, unlike the MetaKey, the people that will die in the process of this, they are, every one of them, deserving. Those who are undeserving, well, let's just say I have little birds tweeting in their ears that maybe it's not such a great idea to come by on a particular day. Maybe they should stay home, call sick, do as they will, but not be there when the day comes.
But how many of them do you think will listen? I mean,
you don't know how convincing my birds are.
maybe, but
recall, if you will.
ultimately, I did argue for this plan.
You did.
Argued for it, and after seeing the aftermath of that kind of, even hell, just a small scale, less powerful, potent, disastrous version of that chaos. I mean, if things go south and the weather isn't favorable, if the fallout does cause another, look, I at least want the people to know that the person that wanted this to happen died in the blaze again. At least give them that much solace, knowing that the person that did this is gone. Because, I mean, if I wasn't there and this happened, I mean, it's either the people kill me or I do.
And he sits with that a moment and kind of looks into the drink, almost looking like for it to give him some kind of an answer. And he looks over at Dr. J and Wei and he says, "And you two, well, how are you feeling about all of this?"
I'm gonna look at Zeke after having a little bit of a drink and go, "That sounds like fucking quitter talk. Even if you try to fucking die, I'll bring you back from the goddamn grave. You're not going anywhere, so shut the fuck up."
I wasn't even supposed to be a runner this long. Hell, I started this whole gig hoping to find a lead on where the PD took my damn parents, but they're so far out of reach, I might as well stop dreaming. They might as well be dead already. They might be dead already.
And Rex, upon hearing that get mentioned, he looks still kind of thoughtfully at his drink, and he slides his agent out in front of him and types in a couple of things really quick before putting the agent away again. But he says, "And what if they're not? What would they think of your choice?"
I mean, certainly wouldn't be happy. But hey, I'm not exactly happy about it either. If I lived through this, I don't know how happy I could ever really be again. anyways. But I mean, they're in the most secure place in the fucking city. They've got a snowball's chance in hell of getting out, no matter how I slice it.
I mean, I don't know about that. Think about it. Militech loses its grip on the city. The NCPD loses their backing. Kahukura is gone. Arasaka's out of the picture from them. Again, the NCPD loses a protection ally. How hard do you think they can retract into their shell and defend some of these places?
Enough for swaths of people to die in the process.
Potentially. But, if I may be so bold, isn't family worth killing for?
Isn't family worth dying for?
Could be. Provided that your death actually meant something for them. Bought them something.
I mean, if what you're saying is true, in my case, my death could wind up buying them their freedom. My fight could wind up buying them their freedom. But at the end of the day, them finding out that I voted for it, and I still do vote for this course of action, I don't know how much of their son I'll be anymore. I don't know how much of their son I still am.
Throughout this entire conversation, I had put on my headset. I am connected to Night City servers, and I'm checking to see if Royal's looking behind the bar because I'm going to go back for that bottle.
Yeah, and Royal's kind of given up defending it. It's just sitting on the bar top, because you and he and Rex are like the only people in here. So like, whomever is here is it.
Cool.
So yeah, so you pour yourself another glass of the good shit.
I'm gonna pour a glass of it, and I'm gonna look over at Zeke. I'm gonna pour him a glass and go, look, you're talking way too fucking much right now. We just blew up a Militech sub. You know how fucking cool that is?
We did blow up a Militech sub.
See, June, I knew you were right in the head. And I'll just push the drink at you, and I'm gonna walk away.
Mm-hmm.
And Zeke will look back up at Rex. Look, I'm not going back on this plan. So far past the point of no return that I didn't even see it on the way by.
Yeah.
But the morality of it all, the amount of blood, I might as well be bathing in blood after all of this.
And
hell, I actually could wind up in there.
And Rex leans back in his chair, looks over at Wei, and he says, "Edge runners are always one poorly placed foot away from drowning in the mire of blood and suffering that they create. But we all have to make rent at the end of the month. We all have lives that are important, ideals to uphold. Johnny Silverhand didn't pick his death. It found him, standing, toe-to-toe, with the thing that he hated most. Edge runners do what we feel is right. Fixers like me just get to sit by the sidelines and watch it all burn. And try to give the best balance we can to the city if we can give it. But I've seen many edge runners in my time. And all of them, and I think truly you included in this, want to burn out as brightly as possible, not given to despair. So
I'm gonna look at Rex and be like, "Yeah, aren't you glad you're on the sidelights now, Choom? I've heard your fucking stories."
and Rex looks back at you and he says, "This isn't going to be another one. This is the one they may very well write on my gravestone one day, or whatever niche I have in the columbarium here of the city." The bottom line of it all is, we all have blood on our hands. We've all stolen lives, some that didn't deserve to be taken. We've all lost people. I'm still here because there are people who need me here. And I'm sure that between Asymmetry, your Choom's here, there are people who wouldn't be here right now if you hadn't lived to see them out of the dark chapter. So, walk through this. Whatever you choose at the end of it all, you decide to bring an end to it. Don't let it be with some falsely placed sense of being atomized by a nuclear blast, somehow purifying you of your sins, washing the blood off your hands,
Well,
giving...
I don't have any dreams of grandeur in that sense. I'm more thinking the people's comfort, their peace of mind, knowing some deranged cyber psycho dropped another nuke on the city is gone off the face of the earth. I know my sins can't be washed away. I made peace with that after the first life I took.
So Dr. J wanders back in front of the two of them again. You notice that the bottle is almost gone.
Yeah.
And he just looks at fucking Zeke. He's sort of wobbling and goes, "Quit your fucking pussy talk. I think anybody's gonna fucking know that you're the one who set off the bomb anyway."
And
Sort of
Rex,
just see like Dr. J like stare off into the distance. He's not really looking at you, but he's looking at the wall at this point.
yeah,
Headset on and everything, just
Yep.
fucking gone.
and Rex simply says, unlike the Fourth Corporate War, no one's names are attached to this. The Scream Sheets can blame who they want to blame. The Spin Doctors can spin it all they want. Bottom line, you believe this is the right way forward, believe in it enough to live in the aftermath. The rest of us will have to, regardless.
Dr. J hears the word spin and goes, "Yeah, just like this room is spinning." And he's gonna sit down at the bar and slouch over.
Yeah, exactly.
Music nods, just and downs the drink that's in front of him and stands up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll talk it over with him. But
That's all I ask.
With
the
his
aftermath.
with his last sober thought, he remembers to turn off his headset and fit in his bag, and then he continues to slouch at the bar.
Yep.
And as he stands up, he looks to Rex, but the aftermath's what I'm most scared of.
As are we all. But hey.
And Zeke will just wander off into a more private area of the place and start chatting with his Chooms about all this and just
Yep.
let him know what more or less what's going through his mind right now if he can get in contact with him.
Yeah, so you do have access to the bunker, which is kind of like the safe house of the club, which is more of that, what you're kind of describing, more private, And actually, so if you'd like to go there, you can.
All right.
Yeah. And so as you head back there, before you really start sending off messages or anything to Asymmetry, you find on a bed within the bunk area of this bunker, you do see a small package. And
eyebrow raise.
Yeah, and on the package itself is a note that simply says, "To the fearless frontmen." And the package itself has the Terrell and Chiang logo on the package.
What is this? He's gonna take a closer look, but not, open it.
Yeah. So Terrell and Chiang. They are a high-end executive clothing company.
The guys who made my suit.
Yeah.
That's what this is. He's gonna pass it by for now.
Okay. And so you start messaging out to Asymmetry then?
Yeah.
Okay. And
just start with just saying exactly what he's thinking. Just, guys, after what I just helped do, I don't know if being there when it goes off is the worst idea.
And the rest of them respond to you with, "Choom, we already said we got to get through this. We need to drop a dope single after it's all said and done. Something really fucking Nova. After all, Silverhand didn't get to sing about it. We fucking do."
That's if everything goes right.
Choom, you're on the fucking ground level. How can it go wrong?
Because I'm on the ground level. You guys know me. Something always happens.
And Red responds and says, "Yeah, but you're still here. Even when shit went down at Dead Drop, you're still fucking here."
You seen the screams lately?
Yeah.
It's never sank in until now. Yeah, I've killed. People have probably gotten caught up in my shit. Taking blame for things that I've done because I was some no-name, no-face bullshitter. But this time I saw what I did. On a grand scale. Bigger than anything I'd ever seen before. I don't know how people live with this.
And Venus responds back to you and says, "I mean, you do this one last gig, and then we get to write royalty checks to ourselves for the rest of forever. Basically. Get off on this clean. Everyone who knows fucking knows. The underground will buzz. You get to ride that wave for the rest of forever. You get to be that living legend. That fucking snowball in hell in Night City.
I always did like that, didn't I? Like saying that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Snowball's chance in hell. Old one, but it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if everything goes well, if the city doesn't turn into a hellscape again, well, if that trigger doesn't need pulled, and I can be off the ground, away from it all. Maybe.
And Mar finally pops in and says, I mean, come on. I only got one shot at base dropping when a fucking bomb goes off. You better be fucking there to capitalize on that shit. That'd be a real shame.
Well,
And Chum, if, you know, things don't go right, you know, just don't die in some embarrassing ass way, like sitting on the toilet, like make sure it counts for something. Besides, you want that fucking asshole Phildo to take the scene after you're gone?
you had to say his name here.
Yeah, I had to say his name here. You seem like you don't fully appreciate the gravity of what you're really saying here.
All right, fine, I get it. A nuke is a lot less bad than Phildo. All right.
Thank you for saying that.
One's an immediate blast. The other's a damn plague.
Exactly. And y'all know that he will not be there when that thing goes off. So if he won't be there, you shouldn't either, so that we can continue showing the world why his music's trash and ours is actually fucking Nova.
He starts thinking for a second. He's like, maybe we call our first single after all this shit Hypernova.
That's why you're the front man.
I'll try to make it through this, but
Fucking Cody, think of all the dead people that you've saved from having to listen to his music. Delivered them from a fate worse than death.
at least they got to sleep in peaceful quiet.
Also, I'm not sure if you saw my suggestion. I needed to bring Erica's mindset into this. You said you wanted to drop a new single. How about We Did Start the Fire, which is totally not a ripoff of Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I'll sit on it a little while longer and I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. You do that. By the way, thank your Fixer friend for us. He sent us some really fucking cool looking shit. Some TNC stuff.
What?
Told us that we should look real good when we are smashing it up in front of the Militech complex.
That son of a bitch.
I mean, you said we could be there, so he just wanted to make sure we look good and we're safe while doing it. He said he got one for you too. Might want to check with him.
He'll turn to the package. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. He fucking knew. He'll walk over to the package again, and this time he'll open it up.
Yeah, and inside you see a perfectly tailored suit for your build, and just above the front pocket on this thing is the asymmetry logo, like stitched on there.
You son of a bitch, you know I hate getting my clothes dirty. damn it. I gotta take care of these. Actually, our fucking logo. God. He'll walk back out into the opening area carrying the fucking jacket with his logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
He'll point at Rex, just... You win this time.
And he just grins at you, raises his glass as like a sort of like salute to you, and takes a sip, and doesn't say a word beyond that.
Fuck! And it'll just kind of like disgruntled march into the privacy of a room and get changed into those new threads.
Yeah.
See how they look.
And they look fucking perfect. They look... Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I hear Zeke stomp off, and I don't know if you've seen this happen, but I'm gonna lean back in the bar stool and go, what? And I'm gonna fall backwards with the stool, flip back and stand up and be like, I don't feel so good.
Yeah, and Rex simply looks at you, says, Chum, go find yourself a bucket in one of the bunks downstairs. You've probably more than earned it at this point. And
once he's changed, he'll walk back out into the room and walk up to Rex. He's like, all right. I want to be with my crew during this. Shit goes south, we'll go south together.
And he says, don't worry, I've prepared means by which everyone gets their fair play at the end of this all. You can have your cake and eat it too. Militech won't know what's coming.
And Zeke will shrug. Or I could just throw the cake at someone. That's much more entertaining.
Exactly. I'm glad the threads fit. They look good. And,
Did you fucking know? You had a hunch, didn't you?
Says, TNC's never disappoints. And, well, I'm still breathing. So I figured, why mess with success?
You bastard. How fucked up do you think I could get in the next half hour?
We've got a pretty fine selection of ways to get fairly fucked up under the bar here.
What's the best bottom shelf stuff you got?
Well,
yeah, Zeke's that kind of guy.
Yeah, and he doesn't judge you. He just looks and he says, and he looks under. He says, well, there's some shit down here that probably predates the Fourth Corporate War.
I'll say less.
And has the what was it? Petrochem logo on it. So I'm sure that'll do you good.
Zeke will pick up the oldest looking bottle he can.
Oh yeah.
And just point to Dr. J. Look, if he can't dress my wounds with it, I'm not interested.
Yeah. and he says, then yes, the Petrochem bottle under here, it's probably worth less than $5.
Good.
The good stuff. Yeah, and you as you grab this bottle, like, it does indeed have the Petrochem logo, and the plastic is yellowed on the bottle. Like, this isn't even a glass bottle. This is like PBS from 30 years ago.
Going to sterilize my stomach and introduce more microplastics. Delicious.
And Rex simply responds, you said bottom shelf.
Hey, I'm not complaining. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, and yeah, you take a swig of that and you feel a burn all the way down.
Yeah, it's one of those swigs where, like, no matter how small of a drink you take, you
got
that fucking grit face.
It's fire in the worst way all the way down. Yep.
I'm not gonna remember yesterday.
And he says
he instantly, without even hesitating, he takes that first drink, sees how it feels. Yeah, I'm I'm forgetting. And then he like downs a quarter of the bottle before setting it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you feel that shit in your soul probably before too long. So yeah, with all of that said, Wei, you've been pretty quiet. What are you doing as all of this is happening?
He's just kind of vibing anti-vibing in the corner, kind of grumbling to himself, angry at all like the second thought talk about wiping it out, because he's in his mind he's fighting for a purpose. He's trying to get rid of all of this shit, and sad thing is collateral damage happens in war, and this is a war that they brought to us, not the other way around.
Yep. Fair. So you're just kind of sitting there just letting it soak in, and Jake, yeah, good night, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. So you're just kind of letting it sink in. Beyond that, though, you're just kind of like letting it happen, not saying anything.
Yep, because he knows what he's gonna do. He's just kind of hanging back, watching what goes on.
Yep, fair enough.
I should clarify. When I said Zeke said he wants to be with his crew, he meant with ASIM. Like out on the front lines, amping people up.
Yeah, no, I get it. The good news is we'll get to the plan next week, because Rex is going to go over all of you with everyone that can make it here. So with that said, eventually, after you've all drunk, well, except for Wei, but the rest of you've drunk yourselves into somewhat of a stupor and found your way to the beds provided, or the floor nearby, as it were. Eventually you all find sleep. And in contrast to the night before, where nightmares kind of haunt your dreams, here you all find your sleep either dreamless, or if you do dream, it is punctuated by the people that care about you and the things that you have to fight for. Way even you dream that way of Yuria.
I was going to say, could I have a continuation on the start of the dream that you had kind of laid out and tie it all together?
By all means, go ahead.
So that whole thing of walking across the bodies of all the people that fell in the tower, walking back to the burning cityscape, underneath the glow of the fire and the neon lights, there's like a smaller, wider light that he can see the figure of Yuria in front of as he gets closer, kind of remembering, this is what I have to walk through to get back to her.
Hell yeah. That's really cool. That's a very cool image. Thank you for that. Dr. J or Zeke, any last minute thoughts from either of you?
Dr. J wakes up at 3 a.m. in the morning after having the fucking weirdest dream of seeing Persephone's head on a shark body.
Yeah, that checks out.
That's it. He's gonna look up really quick. Literally look down at his hands, slap himself, and go lay face down in the bed again.
Yep, fair. And Zeke?
He just got too fucked up to dream.
That's kind of what I figured.
He got the kind of fucked up where he wakes up the next day, it feels like his head's about to explode.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite kinds of passes out, when it just feels like you blink and all of a sudden there's daylight and your head hurts.
Yeah. Like you wake up the next day and you still feel woozy. Like you're still
You wake
drunk.
up, you feel like you just got out of brain surgery.
Yeah, pretty much. So with that, I will award our session IP. So this is another week where I'm really not going to do a ton of personal IP. I'm going to blanket IP for both. I felt the crew really did a great job. Oddities, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. As far as the crew goes, individual IP, I want to give each of you 30 because I feel like you all worked really well as a team. You all bounced off of each other as a team. You all kind of felt and suffered as a team. So 30 to all of you feels appropriate today. 80 for the gig. Because honestly, especially because of the tarot, I think that went about as well as it honestly could have. It went pretty much perfect. Nothing stopped you. You were just a fucking force of nature. So, thank you for the 150 bits, Diamond. I appreciate it. But yeah, with that, we are going to close on episode 20 of Neon Inferno. Goddamn, I can't believe it's been 20 episodes now. That's insane. Plus the yellow one.
Nice bit wall.
Yeah, that's a good bit
I
wall.
love it.
I love that bit wall. So, with that out of the way, so you all get 110 IP. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, this is where the session ends and the episode is over. So I hope all of you have a wonderful morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I hope you stay healthy, stay safe, and until next time, peace.